Round. Here we go. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. It is American Hammers TV. It's Wednesday night, a part of the American Hammers Network. We're very excited to be with you tonight. I want to thank last week everybody who came on the show. I had a little bit of a meltdown of a week, and I wasn't able to do it myself. So Zach hosted. He did a great job. I assume I didn't actually watch, but I'm sure he did great. I don't know who else was on, but whoever else was on, I think John Nolan, a couple of other people. Thank you to all those people who were on. You guys were fantastic for doing that and keeping the show going. Really appreciate it. And of course, everybody's welcome back anytime you want to come on. So Danny in North Carolina is with me. How's it going?
Doing good, boss man. Just ready for this ice storm tonight.
Yeah, now, well, we'll get to that. We'll get back to that in a minute. And of course, as always on Wednesdays, Sally in Colorado. How's it going, Sally?
It's good. It actually just started snowing here about maybe 45 minutes ago. Nothing like it's not, well, it is dumping, but it's like fat flakes. And what's up, Gary? It's just fat flakes and it's kind of cold. So it took me a little longer than usual to get home because I started working at a new job. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I just got off. So
What are you doing now? What's your new job?
I am working at Whole Foods.
Oh, good. That's great. It's a great place to work. Yeah.
Yeah, so far so good. The store opens up next Wednesday. So next week I won't be here, but
Wait, you won't be here
yeah,
next week? Okay.
not
Good to
yeah,
know.
next
Good
week.
to
No.
know. All right, we'll have to make a plan. Maybe we'll do it Thursday next week instead or something like that. Because I like being on with you. So
Thank
yeah,
you. I appreciate that.
you guys know what we always say. Like and subscribe, please. Tell a friend about our channel, please. And yes, hello from Ghana. Nice to see you. I've said before we have some friends who go to our church who are from Ghana. We haven't seen them in a while, but great people. Love having them around. So hello to all our Ghanaian friends. So like and subscribe if you would, and tell your friends about us. We'd like to get our numbers up a little bit here, so we can keep paying for StreamYard and stuff like that. And my wife dismantled all my decorations here in the office because she had to do something here for herself. So if you want one of these, which I don't know why you wouldn't, who wouldn't want one of these? This is
That's
fantastic.
pretty slick.
Isn't that nice? Yeah. If you want an American Hammers TV flag, go to AmericanHammers.net and buy one. We still have our scarves for sale. And did you guys see the little guy on Twitter who got the Mark Noble Panini sticker? Did you see him?
Yeah, I think everybody saw that.
Yeah. So I haven't done it yet, and if his mama happens to be watching, which I highly doubt, because she lives in Southampton, it's the middle of the night over there. I am going to send a scarf to him. Okay, I just haven't done it yet, but I will do it. I found it, and I'm going to send it. So we're going to make him a West Ham fan. We're going to recruit that little guy, make him a West Ham fan, and then he can bill us later for all the therapy and everything else he'll have to go through as a result. But I've been in touch with his mom on Twitter, and she seems really excited, and she's been overwhelmed by the response of the West Ham family, which makes me happy because it means that we are what I know we were, which is a great family who likes to come together and bring new people in. So, So if you want to be on the show too, let us know. Find us on social media. Email us AmericanHammersTV@gmail.com. I think it is. We're on all the socials. Find us. Shoot us a message if you want to come on, talk about West Ham. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, who you are in the world. It doesn't matter. They let me do this every week, so you can do it too. Let us know. Fo wants a scarf. Well, now, Fo, you gotta pay now, brother. I can't just be sending free scarves to everybody, okay? Only cute little kids in Southampton get free scarves, okay? A guy like you, no, son, you got to pay up. I'm sorry. That's how that goes. All right, that's how that goes. But you do need one, and you know what? We still have some, and we have them with like the proper color. Yes. Anyway, look at everybody's here. Somebody's here. I don't know who this is, but. Good morning. Must be in England watching us overnight. Charlie Walsh is supposed to show up eventually. We'll see if he does. Hopefully he will. He stays up all night anyway. He's got nothing better to do. So, but listen, guys. I mean, I don't care if Sheffield United are sitting 20th or second in the table. They had a little tiny run of form going before they came in to play us, and I personally thought we dominated that match. Thought we looked fantastic. With a starting 11 that everybody said when it came out was going to be a disaster, and then it turns out we win 3-0. It's really not even. We kind of barely broke a sweat. Fabianski did make a couple of good saves, but for the most part, I thought we were in control. What do you think of the match? I'll start with you, Danny, since we haven't seen you in a few weeks. What were some of your impressions that you had from Sheffield United?
I think the lineup he went with was a little bit questionable, but it's the Moyes way. I think we were comfortable. Is how I
Yeah.
would describe it. I think we definitely missed Ogbonna at the back. Diop was exposed a couple of times.
He was. Yep.
Some of the headers shouldn't have gone in for Fabianski to make saves, but you look at Sheffield United's lineup, and they haven't changed too much from last season. They've still got the same players, but I think they're a team that's been figured out.
Absolutely.
There's
No
a big-
question. Yeah.
There's a big flip there. West Ham last season were Sheffield United this season. And it's just like mirrored, basically. I felt we were very comfortable. Lingard had a great game, which if we have the option to sign him up, we need to do that at the end of the year.
No question.
No one had a bad game. I think it was just a very comfortable win in the end.
I saw it the same way. I thought it was, it's funny. I mean, it's what we should do against Sheffield United, right? It's what we should do against the bottom club in the table. It's just you don't really expect us to actually go out and do it. And the first time we played them, it was tough. It was a tough game. I think we won. that one 1-0, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was an Allaire goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this would be tough too. And they had a little, they beat Manchester United a few weeks ago. They beat West Brom not long ago. They're sitting at that place on the table where they're not going to come up. They're not going to stay up. There's no way. I mean, they'd have to have a great escape like nobody's ever seen before. They're literally one of the worst clubs right now in the history of the Premier League. But at the same time, that's why they can play with a lot of freedom right now. They don't have to worry about they just go out and play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember when I played rugby in Holland, and our club was when we were fighting relegation, we lost. As soon as we were officially relegated, we won. Next match, won just easily. You know what I mean? It was just like everything just opened up and flowed. And I think they've experienced a little bit of that here in the last few weeks. They've been better, but I thought we were comfortable too. Sally, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good team performance. I wasn't able to watch it live, but I rewatched it afterwards. And, I agree with what Dan said. If we have a chance to sign Lingard at the end of the year, I think we need to definitely jump on that. He definitely looks like our best player. And I think one thing that's especially awesome about that is he looks comfortable with everybody. With this being, his second game playing with the team. He looked comfortable.
Yes. That's right. Second. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. He looks really good with them. So it's nice to see him have that, automatic connection. It is nice to see the guys who did score. It was nice to see them score for a couple of reasons. One, because they haven't scored yet. Diop, really happy for him to get that goal. Rice, obviously. Too bad Soufal wasn't able to get one. But anyway, with the lineup that came out, I didn't know where the goals were going to come from.
Soufal kind of got in front of goal. It was like, he didn't know what to do. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, no, but seeing the starting lineup, didn't know where the goals were going to come from because if I'm not mistaken, we only had like 3 players in the lineup that were attack minded. But Foshed, Fredericks man of the match. I said yesterday with.
He played like 3 minutes, Fo.
Right. I said yesterday that I didn't know if I would have a man of the match. It's more of like a team thing for me because it was just a really dominant performance and everybody did their job and it was great to see.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Lingard was fantastic, and I think it says, I don't know what it says about our team. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this too. I mean, he's out of favor at Manchester United. Okay. He walks into our team and he's immediately one of the, let's say maybe one of the 3 best players in my mind.
Yeah.
Rice, Souček, and I think you look at Lingard as being in that category with them. What is it? I mean, in a sense, it's great that we have him on loan. I'd love to sign him on a permanent deal. What does it mean though that he wasn't this outcast from a big club? Just walks in and is immediately a huge difference maker for us. Or do you guys see it the same way?
No, I mean, you got to look at who it is too. It's not as if he never played for Manchester United. No, this is a guy who has played and played deep in Europa League, played deep in Champions League. Granted, Manchester United hasn't been Manchester United, but he's played with some great people, teammates and all that, and he's played against some of the best teams in the world. So it's not as if it's not as like if he was, Zaha, who, didn't really get too many opportunities to play.
Right.
He is confident because he should be confident. Going into the Crystal Palace match, or I think the Crystal Palace, whichever one was his first start. He came in and he was looking to get on goal straight away.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I think he has a point to prove, so, and I hope that he proves that point with us, if he stays or not, I hope he shines and helps us get better.
I hope he stays. And I know it's early in his period, in his time at West Ham, but what we've seen so far, I'm convinced. I hope he stays. Charlie, welcome. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Keep hydrated, my friend. I'm doing
what
okay.
I mean? You got to keep the H2O flowing. How are you? How's things?
We're okay. Yeah, we're okay. Everybody has new jobs. Sally has a new job. Danny has a new job. I do not have a new job, but I kind of thought my job was going to fall apart a little bit last week, and then it didn't. So,
always good.
Always good. How about you?
I haven't got a new job, but you're rocking a new look.
Well,
I don't know how I feel about it. I can't lie to you.
I don't like it, but I couldn't get a mask over it anymore. It just, I don't go places very often, but every now and then I go somewhere where you have to wear them, and I wouldn't fit. It just I couldn't do it. It was just bulging. So
You are Ricky Gervais's twin right now.
Did he ever have hair like this? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
You mean me or Charlie?
No, you.
Me?
Definitely.
Oh, David Brent. Oh, come on now. Yeah. David. I do love David Brent. I mean, I do. I love David Brent more than I love Ricky Gervais. Actually,
maybe it's not Ricky Gervais. I'm thinking of someone else.
No, because Ricky Gervais doesn't have. He doesn't have the.
He's got short hair now. There's someone. I'll find a picture. I'll put you next.
He doesn't have the Barnett, right? I mean, come on, you give me a little credit.
There's someone in England that has a Barnett. He's in a. I know that I can see it, but I can't figure out who he is.
I'll tell you, I've been accused of looking like Selly will get this, of looking like Johnny Damon in 2004.
Wow.
When he played for the Red Sox and he had the beard and the hair. And then when he went to the Yankees, they made him cut it and shave and everything else. But and that's not intentional on my part. It's just you know what? I'm just lazy.
This is a really UK specific reference for right now, but you've got the same beard hair combo currently as one of the hairy bikers, and I appreciate that. Do you know who they are? I don't know if they've got to America. They're two Geordie guys who ride about on bikes and do cookery shows. And you've got the beard hair combo of one of the hairy bikers.
That sounds dreadful. First of all, I wouldn't understand the word they said. Secondly, I cookery shows are the worst because it makes me just want to eat. You know what I mean? Well, thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. That's what I'm here. That's what I'm here for.
That's why you're here. Something I probably can't watch anyway because we're sure we don't get it here. Anyway, so we're talking about Jesse Lingard. Now, this is actually a good question. Kieran is a little bit of a conspiracy theorist here. Is Lingard part of a bigger plan by Man U to secure Rice? Like they're going to send him out as a scout? Danny, you're shaking your head. You think not?
No, right. The only club Rice will leave for is Chelsea if he leaves.
You think so?
Yeah.
But Chelsea booted him.
And Mason Mount are too far up each other's ass.
Oh, that's true. It'd be for Mace. That's a good point.
They're not. I can't see Rice going anywhere but Chelsea. Man U, I don't know how they're in the position they're in, to be honest.
Well, I mean, aren't they a little like us? Like we're about to find out whether we're going to stay in the position we're in or not, because March gets tough, But Danny, what do you think about Lingard coming in, and what is it? Does it say anything to you that he comes in and he's like one of our best players immediately, or do you think he is one of our best players?
I think he's up there. I think he came into a team that's full of energy and good chemistry. I think he wouldn't be performing. It's hard to say how he'd be performing with last year's team, to be honest, because it's the same players.
Yeah,
I think everyone.
There's Johnny Damon in 2004, by the way. That's what people think I look like, and they're not totally wrong, Anyway, that's for your reference. Anyway, keep going, Danny. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was saying now.
No, you said he might not have been the same in last year's team.
No, but he's got a point to prove, hasn't he? So he's come in and he wants to take everything. We saw him try and take the penalty from Rice. He's shaking his head when Cresswell wants to take free kicks. He's on corners.
A little Di Canio Lampard thing going there. A little.
I would like to see. What game was it the other day? His first game for West Ham when he scored at Villa. Him and Ben Rama are so good together. So I'd like to see that combination again. And
I
no,
would too.
I think he's done excellent since he's come in. I think it shows a lot about him that he hasn't played all year and he's as fit as he is, and he wants to come in and take control of the team. I don't necessarily like the taking control of it part. You know, when Rice picked up the ball and Lingard wanted it, I'm sitting there thinking,
Right.
no, like, Rice, you're the captain, you take charge. This is your
Absolutely.
fault. He's on
Totally.
So
100%.
But no, I
Yep.
think that's a great signing, and I think Man U are going to want him back because I think he's going to show up this year.
I'm afraid they're going to want him back too. I think
Someone's
he's going to
want him.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody bigger than us is going to want him. But maybe a Champions League caliber club is going to want him.
Nobody.
I don't know if he goes back to Manchester United because where is he going to fit in? You know, Greenwood just signed a new contract. Pogba, maybe if Pogba goes somewhere, but you have Fernandes, Mkhitaryan. Yeah, Martial. I mean, their squad is loaded right now, so I don't even know if he didn't play for a reason. Yeah, him too.
Hey, Cavani's leaving after this season, I think, as well, though. So it's a space right there.
It's a space, but it's not like Cavani starts every week.
No, it's not. But he's also been injured a couple times, So
yeah,
Lingard starts ahead of Van der Beek after what he's been doing for us so far. I mean, that's surely a place on the bench.
True, but you look at it, right? He's been better than Van der Beek has, to be fair. But do you take Donny de Van der Beek, who's in his early 20s, come from Ajax, he's done it in the Champions League all this time, or do you take Jesse Lingard, who's 28, 29? 29 probably by the summer, if we're thinking about it logically.
I'll take
I would definitely give – you got to give Van der Beek more of a run out. There's a big reason why he hasn't done anything with them is because he hasn't played. For whatever reason, I guess they're not seeing it with him, and I don't know if that's because he hasn't transitioned properly or
signing.
What's that?
There was no way he was a Solskjaer signing. He was an ownership kind of panic buy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's no way Solskjaer wants him in that team.
I agree with that. But even then, so, if Donny van der Beek can't get into the team, then there's no way Jesse Lingard can. Like, and I mean, and I said this when Jesse Lingard joined us, right? And I mean it with like the most respect in the world to Jesse Lingard. But and I respect it's almost certainly his dream to play for Man United. He needs to realize that dream's dead, bruv. It's not happening for him. He's got to go. For the sake of his own career, he's got to go. Unless he wants to sit there and be an under-23s player for fitness reasons or whatever.
Interesting. By the way, Rob, good to see you. Both Robs. Rob Hart's with us a lot, but Rob in the Navy. Rob, it's good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in a long time. Glad you're here. Really glad you're here. Come back on the show again sometime. Rob's a good dude. Anyway.
Lee, can you see my share screen, by the way? Because if you can, tell me if you can. Hang on, I'll do it again. Let me do it again. See
share
if you can see
screen? Is that what you said?
My share screen.
Oh, your share screen. Oh, I thought you said.
Let me try to do it again. Because I didn't know if it was working anyway. Tell me, Lee wouldn't fit in with these two right now. Driving about the UK
the hairy
on their
bikers?
Bikes. Yeah, there you go. Have a look at that.
It's absolutely not a gay bar out by the highway, is it?
I can't pull it up, so you or someone else who has control over the stream will have to pull it up.
Okay.
Tell me Lee wouldn't look fit in perfectly with these two on bikes, riding about the UK, doing food stuff. Mate, tell me.
I like them a lot better now that I see them. Now that I see them, I want to hang out with them. I'd have to have a translator travel with us because that Geordie accent, I get nothing,
Almost
but it's pops and buzzes, really. But yeah, I mean that's magnificent. Well, you got a little Kenny Rogers thing going with the one dude here. The guy on the left here has got a little bit of a Kenny, and then the guy on the right, like the handlebar is a little flashy for my taste, but generally speaking, I am pro these two dudes. I thought they were going to be young guys, like young muscular guys, but now I like them better because they're old, non-muscular guys, and those guys are better. See, Rob says he would watch this show. I would watch that show too. I might watch that show.
I'd watch any show you do, Lee. I want you to know that personally. I'd watch literally anything you do.
Charlie, there's a 24-hour cam that I just keep on for Charlie.
There it is. Lee, I found him now. Charlie, you might know this. The Royal Family, that TV show.
Oh yes. The Royal Family. The dad
is Lee.
The dad on the Royal Family.
Yes,
that is a great show.
It wasn't fucking Ricky Gervais. It was him.
And I'll tell you what. That was a great show. I used to watch it on BBC Prime when I lived in France. They used to show stuff that was like 10, 15 years old. and I watched like every episode of the Royal Family, and I sort of aspire to be that dude. Like he did nothing but sit on the couch and watch TV, and they didn't even have Sky. They just had like BBC. You know what I mean? They didn't have like
Dude, I
special.
mean,
Wait, hang on.
Can you see that?
I'm gonna
Look
share.
at
I'm gonna
that,
share
dude.
it. There he is. There he is. Here's one from the. Here's one from the set. Here's one
That's
from
your
the.
number.
There you go. There he is.
Yes.
That dude is,
That is
absolutely
you.
my hero. I mean, that dude is amazing. He just the whole show. The brilliant thing about the Royal Family is the entire show
It's
is
Jim.
just them sitting around watching TV in the living room. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing else. There's just them sitting around watching TV. Does anything ever happen outside the living room? I don't think so. Oh, whoops! I'm showing the wrong.
That's,
I'm showing you my text now.
that's him sitting on
Sorry.
the couch. Look at
I'm
that.
showing you my
Look at
text.
screen.
I'm showing
Look
you
at
my
screen
text.
and look at Lee and tell me that's not a twin.
No, it is. It is. It does look like West.
I
Get the beard
think
back
we
a little
I think
bit.
we all aspire to be him. Ricky something was his name, wasn't it? It was Ricky something. I think.
Tomlinson.
That was it.
Ricky
Yes.
He
Tomlinson.
looked
That's
like him
right.
in the show, yeah.
Tomlinson. Yeah. Like
Is he still
Ladanian-
alive?
Oh, there's no way. I mean, it just doesn't seem likely, does it?
Legends never die, do they?
What's that? What, this guy? He's
Oh,
not
he's still
American.
got. Bob, he's still going. He's 81 now.
Yeah.
Good Lord, is he really?
Yeah.
He's 81? That dude made it to 81?
You don't look that old, Lee.
I like my chances if that dude made it to 81. He's from Bisfam, some place called Bisfam. Bipsfam? I don't know, Bisfam, whatever.
Never
Anyway.
heard of it.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, that's cool. That's very cool. His name's Tomlinson, like Ladanian Tomlinson, one of my favorite athletes of all time. Sally knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right, so good. I that's a mystery solved, is what that is. That's a mystery solved. And yes, everybody's like, he's alive. He's alive. Everybody, Rob, this has been a game for so long. I mean, everybody knows this. But yes, keep doing it. Yeah, phone knows. He knows. Everybody knows. Yeah. So anyway, so you guys. So do you think we sign Jesse? I would. We're like 2 games in, and I'm ready to sign Jesse Lingard and make him a West Ham player forever. As far as I'm concerned, I thought he was. He scored the 2 goals against Villa, which the keeper was not great on either one of those. But whatever, he took the shots, and I thought he was fantastic against Sheffield United, honestly. And he won us a penalty. To which some Manchester United fan on Twitter says you can take the player out of Manchester United, but you can't take the Manchester United out of the player. And I was like, well, that's pretty true. Because
Well, it
it
was
would
a
take
legit foul, though. I mean, it's not
Oh,
like
of
he
course.
just got lightly
yeah, well,
touched.
I'll tell you what I think happened there. He's in on the keeper, and the defender's just like, you know what? Let's just make it a little harder for him to score. You know what I mean? I'm
Mhm.
just gonna, and I think the guy could have been sent off. Honestly, I think he could have, because Lingard was the last man in before the keeper. But it doesn't really matter. Declan slotted the penalty. Everything was fine. Do you think he stays? Goes? Do you want him to stay? What do you guys think?
I don't think he stays. I mean, if he continues on this form, there's going to be some form of a bigger club or a better club, or should put it that way, that come in and get him. Now, I mean, maybe he does stay. Maybe he does form a bond with, Rice and the boys and all that, and he does decide to stay. I mean, he's already got 2 goals. He just needs 7 more to be the team's leading goal scorer, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets that.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
But at the same time, like you said, it just depends on the price, because, we're not paying more than whatever to get him. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, and I wouldn't pay more than whatever for him, if you know what I mean. Like,
Sure.
as much as I really like Jesse Lingard, and I would have, I've always sort of liked him quite a lot. And if you'd said to me, you have Jesse Lingard at West Ham, I'd be like, brilliant, it's Jesse Lingard. I think he's really talented.
Yeah. He's got this thing going. What is it? This thing?
It's his initials.
It's his initials. Somebody
Yeah.
explained that to me on Twitter, and I was like, oh, no, I get it. So anyway,
Yeah, when he scored against Villa, on the watch along, I spent a couple of minutes trying to figure out actually what my hands were meant to be doing, because I couldn't do it. But
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
confusing.
right?
Yeah.
It's like this.
it's like that. Is it like that?
Yeah,
No.
no.
Just the J and the L.
What's like this?
No.
Actually, now I don't know.
He does
See,
it
now I don't
2
remember.
ways. He does it.
Yeah.
one way.
Either way, you're probably
He
right,
does
but-
it another way. Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
But realistically, I wouldn't spend more than 20 million on him. And that's not a diss against him. I think he's better.
Neither
than,
would
I think-
David Sullivan, so I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, that's true. That's true.
You know.
I think he's good enough to be paid for that much. I mean, you're getting a player who realistically is in the middle of, if not going towards the end of his peak. But
yeah,
we
I
have so
wouldn't
many
do that.
players in those positions. It's difficult for me to say. It's difficult for me on a limited budget. Like, we have 60 million, this number that's getting thrown around, which I don't think is necessarily true. But let's just say it is 60 million, for example.
Right.
Can you spend a third of that on a player you don't necessarily need? I don't know.
When we need a striker, when we need another, holding midfielder, because Rice and Suchek cannot, as we saw with the overturned red card, which was a scare for us, something's going to happen to that axis. It's going to break at some point. It's a good point.
I agree with you, Charlie, to an extent, but you think that 20 million that we're spending on Lingard, do you not think we're selling the likes of Yarmolenko and Lanzini at the end of the season that can replace? Because I'd much rather have Lingard in this team than Yarmolenko and Lingard. And then we can still use that 60 mil. And say we do get rid of Diop and we sign Dawson up for 3 to 5 million, and we've still got another 55 million. I don't know where we need to improve at this precise moment. I think that we need a striker, definitely. But I feel like the squad that we have, we've got players competing in every position now. When's the last time that we've been able to say that we have what we have right now?
At the beginning of the season. But I think you sign players, I think, for depth and youth players. Because I still would like a left back who's bigger and more physical than Cresswell. The one thing that's a saving grace for Cresswell is the fact that he can, give a good distribution for crosses and corners. But let's not pretend like he didn't have his career saved because we went to 5 at the back and Masuaku was covering him. Like, he still is a liability on that aspect of it. Whether or not he's technically fundamental. Snodgrass was technically fundamental, but I don't want him in the game. Stuff like that. But I think, we do have competition is great, because competition on any team is fantastic at every position. I don't care who you are. You should never feel safe.
Agreed.
Just because you start. Like, that doesn't mean anything. I think you can improve in some areas, but you need to get depth for Rice and Suchek. You need to get striker who probably starts. Not trying to slight Antonio in any way, but Antonio is glass. His hamstrings are glass,
and we know it. He knows it. Everybody knows.
Yeah, and it was no surprise that he got hurt right after the transfer. Who, Antonio?
Well, I would say if he could finish his chances and wasn't injured every week, he could be the top scorer in the league. You figure how many shots he kicks in Road Z, or how many injuries he has a season. I'm not being realistic.
He's gotten better about that, though, Danny. His finishing is better.
Yeah, his shots. Yeah, his shots have definitely been better, but
I think he's taken him from better places.
Yeah, but I think at this point in his career, like, if he can't get that down now, it's just not going to happen for him, and especially not in the Premier League.
When the ball's at his feet, I feel like he has like 12 or 14 toes, and
sure.
Like his technique, like kicking the ball. I just don't. I've played all my life. His technique on how he kicks the ball is it's straight like a Dama Traore strength through the ball. He just wants to kill the ball.
Hey, Dan,
I agree with you 100%.
Crank up your volume a little bit or something. They're having trouble hearing you. Okay.
Who, me?
Yeah. That's what Jay was saying. Maybe Jay's just deaf. I don't know.
Better now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So now this is an idea. Where did it go? Who brought it up? I don't know about this. We're talking about Lingard coming to us partly in exchange for Rice going to Manchester United. Rice is he's 21. Lingard's 29. I really believe, and I know it's naive because I know he'll probably go somewhere else because he's too good not to. But I think as a club we should do everything we can to make Declan Rice a long-term West Ham player and the West Ham captain. I think, and I know it's not going to work. But at least show the commitment.
See, it's not about not working. I just think we should do everything on our power to get as much money as humanly possible for him. I think this opportunity comes so rarely for a club to get for a youth player to come through and look like they can be a world beater, not just be like, oh, this kid's got a Premier League future. This kid could play for most teams like the world. He's that good. He can do it. He's captain material, his age, everything. I think you would just look at it and you say, Gareth Bale, you look at it, you say, this is such a rare opportunity, especially for a club our size, to be able to get that much money for a player. I just think it's a case of we should be trying to get as much money as possible.
Ferdinand. Well, that's what we did with Rio Ferdinand.
Even more money somehow.
They built a stand with the Browns did.
Yeah. We've always been a selling team, though.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And I'm not being like this because I'm a West Ham fan, but who in the Premier League right now would you rather have, or even in the world, to replace Rice? Because I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that you say, you give me 100 mil for Rice, and if I'm greedy, I'll say okay. But if I want in the long run, I keep Rice.
Yeah, I mean, Rice walks into any starting 11 for any team on the face of this planet, and and just specifically to what Kieran was saying for Lingard doesn't do that. He didn't even walk into the starting 11 in United. Declan Rice does. Declan Rice is taking somebody's job at that club. But yeah, I mean, you're not wrong at all, Danny. It is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and you and Charlie for that matter, sell whatever you can get him for. Captain, he's I don't know, just you get whatever you want for that man.
But then there's this, and I'll tell you,
I agree with that.
The reason I hesitate, I understand what Charlie's saying, all right, and it makes sense from a business perspective. You have an asset, he's young, he's probably going to go somewhere at some point, sell high and buy low and sell high, right now you'd be selling high. He's at the peak of his powers. He's 21 years old. He's an England international. He's going to go off to the Euros if there are going to be a Euros. As Selly said, he walks into almost any team in the world, basically. So yeah, you sell high. The problem is, what do you do with the money after that? What do you do with the money? Who has the money? Gold, Sullivan, and Brady have the money. What do they do with it? I mean, what have they always done with it? They've blown it on something stupid, And I think for me, I would love for one risk. Well, I would love for one time for West Ham just to be a club that says, you know what, we're making a commitment to you. And we're going to make you a legend, and we're going to make you our captain for many years to come, and just give it a shot. You know what I mean?
think we have done it a couple of times under them, to be fair to them. If we're going to be fair to, and there's very rare a chance I'll be fair to GSV, but I will on this specific instance. Winston Reid, we gave a super long-term contract to. Aaron Cresswell, we gave a super long contract to. Antonio, who potentially could become a legend at West Ham, we gave a super long contract to. We have done it at times, even if it doesn't feel like it. Now, obviously, Declan Rice is a whole nother ball game. He's a different kettle of fish.
He's at another. That's the thing. He's at another level. Surely.
I mean, 100%.
Winston was a huge mistake to give that. We know that now. I think at the time everybody thought it was a long contract. Antonio, on the other hand, I mean, if he can stay healthy, it might end up being worth it.
Well, and the one thing with Antonio, if he'll stay healthy, it's not an if. He's not. He's 30 plus, and he's never been healthy. So there's no if he stays healthy, because it's not going to happen.
No, you're right. You're right, Sally. It's not going to happen.
Only way he stays healthy is if he does become the impact sub that Ray was talking about earlier, because that's what he should be. That's what he needs to be, is somebody who comes in, gives you 20 minutes of just like beating, back lines and tired, feet. Yeah. He's not a 90-minute player anymore. He's just not.
And let me put it just. I don't want to put down those people, because I don't want to act like those contracts were bad. I just think there have been times where we have put long-term money into certain players to try and keep them at a club longer. I don't necessarily we've always been a selling club, and I don't necessarily want to use that term now, because I don't necessarily think we are. I don't think we have to learn not to sell our players anymore, but I do think we have to learn when to sell our players. There's a right place and a right time. And I do think this summer is the time for Rice. I can't see his price going up any further. I can't see a situation which he's more of a hot prospect unless he goes on to have an even better season. But even then, he's still going to be worth probably around the same price, because inflation can only get you so far. Just ask people with Tesla stocks, right? They can only go so far at some point. I think it's such a rare opportunity. And as much as I don't trust the people who would have the money, I think sometimes it's a risk. And I think actually, I was literally about to.
This is
almost
actually
say
a good
the
point
same
that Vernon brings up.
similar thing.
By the way,
Like-
I just want to jump in and tell y'all very quickly that Danny has lost power in North Carolina. There's a lot of big winter storms and very cold temperatures going through the American South right now. Oh, wait, but he's back. No, it's Ray. Okay, that's fine too. Come on, Ray. Come on, Ray. Anyway, Danny, listen, if you're out there, brother, you can come back. Come back, okay? We were loving having you. Come back if you can. If not, stay warm, all right? I got a lot of friends in Texas who are really cold right now, and I'm worried about them, and I'm checking on them because they're in a very difficult situation, and we're just praying for everybody there and hoping that they're okay. So you stay warm, Danny. You just do what you need to do. In the meantime,
Ray, you can only stay if you got first place in Warzone, my friend.
Well, I was going to say I did not. I got second.
Well, you've got a PlayStation
Bye.
hoodie on. You're not getting first place. You've come on here showing all of the chest.
see, Ray is
Because
doing
of that, look.
Ray has just done what I thought Georgie Leahy was going to do
Oh
to us
my
that
gosh.
time. I thought Georgie Leahy was going to take her top off, but in fact, it was Ray who took his top off. So I think I would have preferred Georgie, to be honest. But yeah,
Can I
it's,
just point out, I
it's
can't believe Charlie's not talking about Ben Johnson. That's our new wonder kid, Charlie. What are you chatting about?
he was good, Charlie. He was good. He was
Full
good.
stop. He was good.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll
He's
tell
a
you,
world beater.
Hmm?
He's a world beater.
He's not a world
he
beater.
stepped
Ben
into
Johnson is
that
good.
Masuaku role very well, though. I thought. He
Yeah,
did.
Well,
don't get me
he
wrong.
did.
I don't want to see his long-term future at left back. Though I want to see it right back.
Right.
Like realistically, like we went into this window expecting us to sell Fredericks, for example. Now apparently he's a right wing or whatever's going on there. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know what's
But
going on with Fredericks either. I don't know. He just walks in and scores a goal in the last 3 minutes of the match. So
Yeah, I reckon
yeah.
he's the long-term right back, but I don't think he's. I see. This is the difference, right? That's what I was trying to say about. You know how you see some youth players come up and you're like, they're a good player. They can stick around for a while. That's Ben Johnson. I look at Declan Rice and I think, there's my cash money right there. There's the world beater right there. Let's get him, fattened
I'll
up
tell you,
like the
and-
chickens
and-
from Chicken Run and get him out.
let's go back to this. This is not the worst idea I've ever heard. I mean,
Yeah.
let
do
me
it.
just say this, and this is starting to sound like one of those NBA trade generators that were kind of stupid. But let's just say, because it doesn't seem impossible, let's say we say to Manchester United, Jesse Lingard plus 60 million, Jesse Lingard plus 80 million. You get a Jesse Lingard out of that. We know he's what caliber player he's been for us so far. And then you take some of that money and you upgrade our trailer park training facilities, and you make something that you can attract young players with and academy players with. I don't hate that idea, actually. And if that's Declan Rice's legacy with us, I don't hate that idea. Rio Ferdinand's legacy was a stand at a stadium that's now gone thanks to our new owners or current owners. But I don't hate that. I don't know, what do you guys think? That doesn't sound stupid to me?
No, do it. I mean,
To be honest-
it's just smart, yeah.
To be honest, there should be money available for training facilities anyway. Like
Well, there should be money for a lot of things, Ray, but where does it go? I mean,
underwear for me, but looks of it.
I mean, Ray, there is
Sure.
none of that there.
Sure.
We've seen that, sir. If anything, that is a gown. That is not. I would not class that as underwear. You ain't finding that in the PlayStation merch store under underwear.
I do love the idea of 15 Sioux Falls for 75 million. I think that's fantastic.
I
would
like
watch
the
this.
idea of them just all of them at once running around.
That's what I'm saying. It's all of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
15 Sioux Falls. As many as we can fit on the pitch at one time, including in goal. Just nothing but Sioux Falls. I don't.
Yeah.
I think we'd win Champions League. I don't think we'd ever lose another game if we did that. But yeah, I mean, but this is. I keep coming back to what Rob is saying, and I think it remains a valid point. Do you trust him? Do you trust
No.
these owners?
Not
I
at
don't
all.
trust him. I don't trust him. Charlie, do you trust him?
No, but I mean, I think there's a level of selling Declan Rice is a much different kettle of fish. You can't sell Declan Rice and get away with not reinvesting that money. It doesn't matter about wisely; it just needs to be reinvested. If you sell someone for 10 mil and you don't reinvest it, fine. If you
Right.
sell someone for 20 million, apparently you don't reinvest it, some people will say fine. if you sell Declan Rice for 80 million or whatever it would end up being and don't reinvest it, you have much bit. You think Dean Garner was a problem?
Okay, let me ask you this, Charlie. Let me ask you this. Okay, let me just play devil's advocate for a second. And Ray, you jump in too whenever you want, or sell anybody. So, okay, so they say sell him for 80 million pounds. They net 80 million pounds and they don't reinvest it. What happens? There's already
London Stadium gets burned to the ground. That's what
well, but that's what I'm saying. There's already protests. There's already all sorts of vitriol on social media. What else could we do? I mean, at that point, what are your options?
The protests are just frustrations because we haven't improved the squad in way. Well, I guess recently under the new Moyes thing we have, right? We've gotten Bowen, we've gotten Suchek, we've gotten Soufal.
Because he went out and found deals, and he found a scout in Suchek who went out and got a Soufal. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying so that's the current form is the reason why you don't see anything happening, right? We were playing poorly because we had a bad team. Now we have players that are in, and as Charlie was saying, they're putting shifts in. And now look, we're tied for 4th place, essentially, right? We're in Europe if the season ended today.
Right.
And if you sell Declan Rice, first off, you want to play devil's advocate, does the board even sell him for a proper amount of money? That's a question that we can debate all day.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly.
But let's say you get, 100 million pounds for him, right? 100 million plus. If that is not returned in some kind of form or fashion to where there is a new ground, improvement to the stadium, 3 or 4 new players, that's a whole different thing. Like those protests would be nothing compared to what I know will happen if you sell the best player the team has had in a long time and you don't do anything with the money.
I mean, I'm with you, Sully, and I agree with you. But my question is seriously, what actually would happen? I mean,
I genuinely think fans would not show up to games. I don't think fans show up to games. I don't think people buy merch. I think that's what you have to do because you got to hit them in the pockets because that's the only way that GSB listen. That's the only language they know is money. So fans aren't going. If they do go, they're rowdy. Stadium is probably not full, if we're being honest.
But so, Sully, I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just asking.
I'm saying.
Well, let me just throw one more thing out there, okay? In a normal season, I think that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's been to a game in a year. All right.
Sure.
Stadium opens back up in. Let's say we sell Declan Rice in the summer. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We undersell, and we don't buy new players. We go into next season with a thin squad, a crappy training ground. And 80 million pounds or whatever it is, and it's just like been pissed away basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they open London Stadium, and they say first time in 18 months you can come watch a game. Do you think nobody shows up? I mean, really? I don't know.
The stadium was full. Honestly, I don't think so at all.
I like the way you think.
Yeah.
What about you, Ray?
I was going to say. Go? Yeah, I'm going to go now. Dan's back. I'm going to shoot off, go back to bed. First of all, hey Katie. And I think
you give a man a PlayStation robe, and all of a sudden he turns into flipping.
Here it is again. Oh, that was smooth. I don't know, man. That was smooth. I can see where you got a lady. I can see why there's a lady walking around behind you from time to time. There must be a few of them walking back there. You got that kind of game. I mean, player. Anyway. Player's gonna play.
So I was gonna say West Ham fans would like to see, if we sell Declan, would like to see a bit of growth. We'd like to see what they're going to be doing with the money. Now, if they don't do anything and they don't reinvest it in, they don't have to spend it all in players. They have to do a bit here.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if let's say if we get into Europe, if we just get into Europe again the second year, I think they would actually, be building on something. What's this? 30 years. Oh, wow.
What are you talking about? Yeah. All right. Anyway, sorry.
This is a sexy beard. Ray.
So would you? Okay. So bottom line, Ray. Bottom line. Let's say the total package for Declan Rice is in the neighborhood of 80 million pounds, whether that includes a Lingard swap or whatever. Do you sell him in the summer?
No, not if we get in Europe.
I think it's a good answer. Danny, you thank you for. I'm glad you're back. By the way, is
Yeah,
your power come back on?
See you guys later.
All right, Ray. Thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
man.
chat.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah, we'll come back if Danny drops off again. Then
Oh, God,
I got it.
might
That way,
drop
we're
off
gonna
if he
put a
does that
warning
again.
on if you're gonna do stuff like that. All right.
What was the question? I missed the whole.
Well, we were okay. So we were talking about Declan Rice, and do we keep him this summer? Well, Charlie's saying we got to sell him while he's at the top of his value. I'm saying I don't trust the owners to spend the money wisely. If we do that, Sully's saying if the owners don't spend the money wisely, then there's going to be a huge boycott. Nobody's going to show up for the games. We're just talking about what do we do with Declan? I would love to try for once as West Ham to keep a player of his caliber and to say we're going to commit to you instead of doing what we did with Rio Ferdinand, for instance. What do you do, Danny? I mean, if there's an 80 million pound package, whether it involves a Lingard swap or not, you're 80 to 100 million for Declan. What do you think they should do?
So I think we should keep him. I think just look at all the players that we've let go from the academy, where they've gone, what they've gone on to do, and stuff like that. Why can't we be that team that builds? We've always been renowned for our academy. Why can't we keep some of our players and work around them, work a team around Rice? We get rid of Rice, Noble's done for. Then what do we have left? Souček, and we try and rebuild again. And like I said earlier, before I lost power, we can't. I just can't think of anyone to replace Rice. 80 million is 80 million, but the chairman's going to pocket 40 million of that.
Well, that's my concern too. Now, Vernon in the chat room brought up what we discussed is a good point, which is what if you sink some of that into a proper training facility and you get us out of our trailer park? You live in the South. You know what trailer parks look like. I've known a few in my time.
Are people not able to run on grass? Are we going to grow extra grass? Are we going to get bigger buildings, bigger bathtubs?
You get a nicer weight room than what they have now. That'll be an improvement.
I guarantee you. I believe that you can recruit young players more effectively if you show them that you've made a financial commitment to the club to make your facilities,
and senior players.
And right, and senior players,
especially senior players. Honestly,
I mean,
what do we see as fans? We don't see how people are training and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we see the players who actually want to join.
Yeah.
Look at if we're looking at a team who's Leicester are ahead of us, let's be real about it. But if we want to compare ourselves to Leicester or even Everton, who are both teams who should be of comparable sizes of us, look at either of their training grounds, then look at ours. It's a joke.
Yeah, even speaking on that, look at the players that Everton brought in this summer. They got James Rodriguez, who's probably the best player in his country right now. They've been able to keep Richarlison. He's was rumored to go to Real Madrid for a long time, and DCL is up there still. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. But it's not necessarily about the specific grass that they're training on. You can grow grass in somebody's backyard to train on, but it's the appeal to show that you want to compete. Now, Leicester, they've been top of the league pretty much since they've won it. Maybe not the year after, but since then they've been, in European positions.
Right. Yeah.
But doing stuff like this, it shows.
That's their new ground, which I don't know if that's an artist rendering. It looks like a picture.
It's like a real picture.
It's like a real picture. Yeah.
But yeah, and you're not just doing it for the men's squad. You're improving it for the women. You can bring in better women players. You're doing it for the academy. Because who you think about it, the only time that they're not at the ground is when they're playing at London Stadium, right? So that's basically your office. Do you want to go to an office with drywall and stucco, or do you want to go with stainless steel and marble countertops? I think you want to be motivated to go there. Now, granted, like you said, Danny, at the end of the day, they are training on some grass, and that's true. And it shouldn't matter where you're training with the amount of money that you're making, but at the same time, you should want to enjoy the place in which you are training.
I 100% agree with Zelly, but at the same time, I should also add, they're not doing it so the players are happy. If you're looking at how much money Leicester, Manchester City, Everton, all of these clubs are putting into their training grounds, it's not just so the players are a bit happier. Let's be real about it. It's because it has an actual effect on performance. You know,
Yeah,
there's
think it does
a
too.
marginal gains
Yeah.
exists, but like there's a reason it exists. There's a reason why they all want to spend so much money on it. It's because it is effective. The science backs it, and it's not a case of looking at
They
it and
won't even
saying
give us a full picture of our training facility. All you give us this front picture of the looks like
Well,
a place.
plus you want to look like you belong in the Premier League, right? If we're
Yeah,
trying to,
exactly.
if we do end up getting to a place where we're constantly competing for European football at either Europa League or Champions League level, that's not a ground that you attract players who can perform at that level at. I could build that in my apartment building. That's nothing. You know,
I'm telling you, Tingsboro Sports Center, which is a few miles from here, where my kids have played in the past, has facilities as nice as what you see at our academy facility, for instance. I mean, almost exactly the same. And that's a facility used for kids games and multi-sport stuff. It's as nice as what West Ham and Premier League club have. It's crazy. And I think what we have is kind of embarrassing, but by the same token, you have to ask yourself. But at the same time, if you want to sacrifice, you're sacrificing the future of your club, the current captain, really, effectively, the current captain of your club, and the future of your club to build something. This is inside the academy training ground now. And I'm telling you, it's exactly like where my kids used to play. I mean, it's the same. It doesn't, to me, it's not fitting of a Premier League academy, but anyway. But
that used to be our first team as well. Up until they swapped, that was our first team facilities as well.
Yes. The new Tingsboro Sports Center is easily that nice, and you can have birthday parties there. So,
love that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Charlie, you sell Declan then. That's your, if it's the right price.
Yeah, for the right price, of course. I'm not just going out there on a market stall going, come on. But I disagree with
you and Delboy and Rodney.
This time next year we'll be billionaires. But
right.
I think I don't disagree. I don't agree with the stance of he's not for sale that our owners put out. If I was in their shoes, I would be very clear. I'd say he's for sale, but only for this price. Do what Leicester did with Harry Maguire. They didn't stand around going, oh, he's not for sale, we're never going to sell him, and then they sold him. Just go, no, he's for sale for £80 million. You either pay the 80 million or you're not coming near him. And then guess what? Man United came around, they were like, oh, here's 50 million. No, we've said it. If you pay 80 million, we will give you Harry Maguire. I think that's the way you have to do it. It's not a case of like obviously there's a price, but if we're serious about that sort of thing, I don't think we should stand there and pretend like he's not for sale. I think we should just go out and say, cool, 100 million, and you get Declan Rice. And then if someone, and then that gives you a stance, and then that also, I think, to an extent, lessens the impacts from it will have on the fans. Because if we're all sitting there hearing the board saying every 5 seconds, he's not for sale, and then on the second last day of the transfer window he goes, it doesn't really matter how much it will be for. There's going to be a problem. Just go. If you give us 100 million, you can have Declan Rice. And then when someone comes and goes, here's 50 million, here's 60 million, you go, no, 100 million. We were clear about this.
We meant it. Yeah. Now, this is the Tingsboro Sports Center, by the way, and tell me there's any difference between that and what we just saw. It's the same
literally
thing.
Not.
It's the same thing.
Not.
This is where kids go and play. My son played like under sevens here. So anyway, that's in Tingsboro, Mass, like kind of the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So I see what you're saying. Sorry, somebody was jumping in there.
Do you think that by saying he's not for sale, it's increasing his value, and teams around us will be like, teasing? Kind of what you said, teasing money, and we reject it to try and get more money. Do you think that we can get more money out of saying he's not for sale?
I think to a degree, saying he's not for sale allows you to see the offers that people are willing to give you. Because if I'm like, oh, he's not for sale, and then Chelsea come ringing like, hey, we'll give you £65 million for him. Like, no, bro, he's not for sale. But if somebody comes in and is like, oh, we'll give you £95 million for him, maybe you could use that as a starting point. I honestly don't sell Declan Rice for anything less than £100 million. And that's just being honest. Anything less than that is just disrespectful.
And is there any way, Selly, that we can sell him somewhere else in Europe. I would love to sell him outside the Premier League. That would be great.
I always saw him outside the Premier League too, but I mean, he's
I don't think it's gonna
built
happen.
for this league. He's not going
I know.
anywhere. This is his country.
And Premier League clubs have the money. You know what I mean? They have.
Yeah,
money.
I mean, the only other thing outside of England, who's buying for him? There's like maybe 7 teams. You know, there's one team in Germany that's going to pay for him. Maybe
Right.
2 teams in France. You know,
Just
Spain
one in
has
France,
3 teams.
realistically. Yeah.
You're saying Etienne's not buying? No, okay. I guess
Oh,
not.
my poor guys. Hey, listen. They have 10 points out of a possible 12 in their last 4 games. They're doing really well, and I'm proud of them. So
Nice.
solid performance for Les Verts. I'm happy. Anyway, but they don't have
yeah,
anybody.
no, I mean,
They don't have anybody.
he's not going anywhere outside of England. He has way too many friends here, way too many ties, and he's still young. Like, I mean, I don't see him as being the kind of guy who goes out and parties all the time. So, you know what? I think he's here for his business, but at the same time, yeah, I think, Danny, you do have a point to that. And I guess to Charlie's point earlier, the only thing that can increase his price is where we finish. You know, if we finish in Europe, maybe it's 110. If we finish in Champions League, maybe you can push it up to 120. But other than that, I mean, I don't know if we do. I know that the boy's probably not going to want to because he's the face of the franchise. Everybody loves him, and he's been a baller since day one. But at the same time, he's one of the few players that can be like, all right, deuces, I'm going to Chelsea, and nobody would be mad. No one. Not a soul.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd be mad that we're selling him, to be honest. If we make European football, then we need to keep our best players so that we remain a European football team. And we
but
attract the likes of play. And I don't know that, you know, like even when Leicester went and they won the league, they didn't have any superstars in their team. They had a 30-something-year-old Jamie Vardy. And even over the summer, they had
3. They had Vardy, Mahrez, and Kante. Kante went that summer, and that they started regenerating the squad by buying in a bunch of players who, some of whom have stayed and gone on to become stars, and some haven't. And they sold Mahrez. They kept doing the same thing.
You know, somebody's going to get paid this summer. It's Madison. Madison's about to get paid.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say Vardy was a star. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember him going breaking that record. I forgot about Mahrez and Conte completely.
It's a long time ago.
Vardy has just been the man for Leicester. I feel like he's just very loyal.
Yeah.
I just can't image West Ham anyone replacing Declan Rice in the middle. I just can't
Well, sure, but I don't think you're selling Declan Rice to try to find the next Declan Rice. If let's just say in a perfect world we had a board that knew what they were doing with the £100 million. If you sell Declan Rice and you're in Europa League, right, you can definitely buy enough players to help you sustain the Europa League run, right? I think the main point of doing that too is not losing to some random team that nobody's ever heard of before twice.
Astrogugu,
you know,
yeah. Again.
You know, if you go to the Europa League and you get knocked out by Valencia or whoever, heaven forbid it's somebody else in.
It's going to be Slavia Prague, by the way. It'll 100% be Slavia Prague, but yeah.
Well, Sure, yeah, but I mean, as long as we make a competitive enough run, because even if we make it right now with Declan Rice, I don't like our chances because our squad's not deep enough, So
no, our squad's thin for the Premier League, and I got to tell you, I think we're about to find that out. And this match is upcoming. I think we're in for some rude awakenings here. But it's a good point, Sully. I mean, everybody in the chat room is saying the same thing. I mean, if we make it to Europe, our squad's too thin.
Can I make an opposite argument? I think we should sell him if we get into Europe. Where are we going to find the depth from otherwise? We need players we need them fast. And realistically, the thing I always think about, and it's something Ray will know because I bring it up to Spanners and stuff, but if you said to me you get say 80 million for Rice or you get 40 million for Souček, I'm selling Rice every day of the week. I think Souček's the irreplaceable one out of the two. I think we can find someone to do. Now, don't get me wrong. Whoever we buy won't be as good as Declan Rice. That's just not going to happen. It's how far down they've fallen.
Astrogugu and listen, now, if we get into Europe, okay, the one thing that we have to watch out for, of course, is the club that knock us out every time we get to Europe. Astrogugu, they are 13th. They're quite a ways off. In fact, the red must be, they're going to a relegation playoff in all likelihood. They would have to, they're
Use the
20,
rest real fast, guys.
20. Yeah, they're 23 points off the top. We don't have to worry about them. Okay, in all likelihood. All right.
Well,
this is the best season ever.
Palermo, are they lurking near the European places this season?
Palermo? I don't
Yeah.
know, but I'll tell you. You know what happens if we make it to Europe. You know what happens. You know who eliminates us? It's 100% Ajax on a goal by Sebastian Haller.
Oh, and you know what? I'd feel justified.
And half the West Ham fan base celebrates it. On Twitter.
Yeah, me specifically.
Half the West Ham fan base on Twitter is like, yeah, Haller, that's going to happen. That's 100% going to happen.
I think there's a case to sell him if we get to Europe even more desperately, because I just think we need the depth. Like Souček's the irreplaceable one. We can replace Declan Rice. The person we get in won't be as good, won't be as loved for obvious reasons. And if I'm being honest, they probably will never be loved because the way we are as a fan base, we will hate him because he won't be Declan Rice.
Won't be Declan Rice, right?
That's
it's
the
not
way it's
fair,
go.
but it's true. It's true.
But having said that,
Palermo
I
in
think
Serie C, by the way. Palermo were in Serie C.
Have they fallen that far? I knew they fell quite far.
Evidently, they have. Yes.
I didn't know it was that bad.
Good
kit, though. Good kit.
Yeah, it gets real deep down there. They are 8th in Group C of Serie C. I don't know, man. They're like,
you hate to see it.
Yeah.
They're in
a lot of trouble. Anyway.
They do.
One thing somebody said earlier is that selling players is risky. I don't think selling players is the risky part. Buying players is the risky part.
Yep.
Because you look at Pellegrini's first season, right? We spent £100 million, which is what the club was, or not the club, but what the fans were asking the club to do. Spend £100 million on some halfway decent players.
Yep.
And it just none of them panned out.
Yeah,
some of them are still on the team, but none of them are starting. Not half of them aren't even here anymore. So I think that's where you get the risk, right? We could go and buy Cristiano Ronaldo. And in our luck, he'd step on the training ground and get hurt in the first time, tear an ACL.
Oh yeah, we could have Ronaldo and Messi up front, and they would run into each other on the training ground and have career-ending injuries. Yeah,
or you could do something like you bring back a Christian Bale, and he's not up to Premier League standards anymore.
He doesn't care anymore. Yeah, he just doesn't care. Yeah, and somebody brought up way long ago, and I don't know who it was. It might have been Vern, might have been Foe. I don't remember who it was. Anyway, Kieran. That when Spurs sold Christian Bale, they really only got one really good player out of that sale, and that was Eriksen.
Gareth Bale, Lee.
You what?
You said Christian Bale because Sally said Christian Bale earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gareth Bale. Christian Bale's the actor, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's no difference. They're the same person. But
I said it too.
A thing with that too, I guess, just to prove my point, is Tottenham made the Europa League final not buying a single person.
Yeah, I know.
So.
And they've established themselves, generally established themselves as a.
Do you remember when Tottenham did sell Gareth Bale though, and they bought like Soldado and Lamela and however many players? Like,
right.
Did they do anything after all those players turned out to be flops,
I'll be honest. If you want to hear a hot take, I don't know why Tottenham are considered top 6. What have they ever done?
Well, they never won
Nothing.
anything.
They've made a couple finals. Cool. Couple deep cup runs. Cool. All right. You're top 6 because you play in London and have a shining stadium. Neat. So do we.
You take Kane and Son out of that team, and I think they're just –
they were called top 6 before they even got there, and it blows my mind. Like, what have they done? Nothing. Their trophy case is just as empty as ours is.
The last time they won a trophy was 2003 League Cup, something like that.
Do you remember? Did you guys watch the American Hammers final this evening?
Yes,
I did not.
Did you see the question earlier, Charlie, about what 2 teams have conceded more goals than West Ham in Premier League history? And Tottenham's one of those. Only 2 teams. Tottenham's one of those.
Was it Everton? Was the other one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, they've played more seasons than we have, to be fair, but yeah.
Yeah, 4 more seasons, but But
I think I see. I was going to make a spirited defense of the sale of Gareth Bale, but I just enjoyed everyone crapping on it for a while, so I thought I'd just sit there and absorb it. Do you know what I mean? Everyone going, they got one. It just is what it is. They're crap. It's fine. We move. It's not about. That's the problem is as well. Is when I talk about the Gareth Bale thing, it's not thinking the short term. It's thinking about the long term future. They might. out of those players, what Ericsson's a success. I would say Lamella's probably been a success, even though he's not hit the heights of what he should have. He's been there for long enough and done enough to where you'd say he was a success. And then probably Paulinho was the other big success out of the. I think they bought like 8. I remember Chadley was one of them. Can't remember who else was there. You named one, Dan.
Yeah.
But out of like the 8, those were like the 3 successes. But you look at it and you say, okay, well, those are ones we can then sell and then reinvest that money. And then we can then, the players who do succeed, they become worth more. It's kind of betting on it. It's seasons down the line, it becomes worth that money. You know, it becomes worth it seasons down the line because all of a sudden you have a better, more players, you have more players to bet on, all this stuff. It is kind of like Ray said in the chat, it is a bit Moneyball, but I think it's just the way it's got to be, unfortunately. As much as I want to, I love this idea of, and listen, when I play Football Manager, when I play FIFA, when I play PES, trust me, Declan Rice goes nowhere. He flipping stays where he is. And the entire team gets built around him because I don't have the heart to do it. Because I'm me. I don't have the testicular fortitude, but I think in football, when I look at it, and if they said, look, we've sold him for an absurd amount of money, I'd be like, it's the right thing to do. Now we've just got to make sure we don't waste that opportunity.
If we're being honest, right, and we're talking,
the answer to this is yes. But anyway, go ahead.
He did. He took a while to do it, but he did. Yeah,
he did.
And he was an Arsenal fan and played on loan at Millwall, and now
right.
Through and through, apparently.
Yeah.
Correct, but he did come through the academy.
Rivals.
You know, if we're, since we're talking about Gareth Bale a little bit, you can kind of put us in those same shoes as Tottenham fans when there were rumors that he was leaving, right? I think, he was one of those generational players for the team, obviously a world beater. He's the reason that Tottenham, were as good as they were, and that's facts. The same thing with Declan Rice, face of the team, captain, he's the big reason of why we are where we are. When Gareth Bale left to Real Madrid for buckets of money, nobody was going to be mad at Gareth Bale for leaving, or nobody was mad. And if they were, then they're stupid. And I think honestly,
Real,
especially
which is the biggest club in the world.
And look at what he's done since. Couple of bunch of league titles, bunch of Champions League titles, Copa del Rey's, all that good stuff. Now, granted, the most successful club in the history of football is Real Madrid, but at the same time, like Real Madrid, Tottenham, like warm summers, rain all the time. Like you're not beating that, But
that's true.
But I mean, if Declan were to go somewhere, like it's just gonna, if he stays, outstanding, But I don't think we're in the age anymore where players are dedicated to one team if they get enough money in their face.
Oh, of course not. No, I agree with that. Yeah, and it's an interesting point you bring up about Souček, Charlie, because I do think Souček is becoming. I mean, he's in a way becoming the heart and soul of the club, and that axis he has with Declan is what keeps us going. When that breaks, we break. You know what I mean? When that breaks, we break. I think. I'm not sure anything can save us at that point.
When that breaks, you break, just like that.
I think. I just feel like out of the two, listen, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. Sometimes when the vibe takes you, you got to go with it.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
It's not a couple of beers. It's just leave it.
I just think he's the more important one out of the two. I look at it and I Declan is obviously Declan Rice, but especially in the formation,
scores too.
Especially in the goals.
This is the thing with the formation we're playing. Souček is vital. Yeah. I would be terrified to have to replace Thomas Souček. I'm not terrified to replace Declan Rice.
He's 25. He's young. I mean, he's got 4, 5, 6 good years left.
Pay 15, 16, something like that.
Isn't it crazy that like players like Kufal and Souček coming from a shit league, that like scouts play such a big role in football, and we gave the owners, and I'll still give them a bunch of shit because they're greedy bastards and I hate them, but scouts are like a big backbone of football. You gotta think, like, any
sport, Danny, any sport. Yeah, I mean, any sport.
It's crazy that there's players out there that, I'm all for that Ivan Toney guy from Brentford, Last year, I didn't even know who he was last year.
Oh yeah, Ivan Toney. Everybody said now. Now, Sally, you'll appreciate this because you go back. You know a lot about American sports. I keep calling him Andrew Toney in my head. And Andrew Toney he played for the 76ers, a basketball player in the 80s. And I can't do Andrew. It's like Christian Bale and Ivan Toney. I can't keep it straight. But yeah, everybody's after Ivan Toney now. So
Lee,
I don't know.
I like your jacket. I like that.
Oh yeah, thank
That's
you.
Pretty, bud.
Thank you. My wife got this for me for it was either birthday or Christmas. They're 5 days apart, so I can never remember.
Is it a full zip or is it a 3?
It's a full zip. Yeah, it's a full zip. It's like a full. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I like it too. I wear it all the time in the house. And yeah, it's great. I wear it out. It's great. Yeah, I love it. It's got the old badge. It's kind of nice. I don't know where she got it. I have no idea. No idea where she got it. I haven't asked her. But
And
Fell off the back of a truck.
yeah.
no,
Yeah, I'll find
scouts
out.
are scouts are definitely important as well. And obviously, scouts can get it wrong. Because look at right now with our club, right? Who scouted anybody that we brought in under Moyes besides Moyes? If you can't count him.
Right.
Granted, it might have been other coaches in the staff, and we just don't know about it. We already know that Suchek scouted Sufal. That's blatantly obvious. But at the same time, we have the squad that we have now with no scouts. Now, should it stay that way? Absolutely not. Definitely not. But
It can. Yeah.
no, it definitely can't. And I think it'd be ridiculous to think about it like that too, because not only do scouts scout senior players, but they also scout youth players. So I don't know. It's nice. It'd be great to have them because I think it's something that the manager wouldn't have to worry about. But at the same time, with the current non-system that we have for scouts, we have to continue to back David Moyes because I think so
No
far
question.
on the players he's brought in, he's hit on every one.
And I got to ask you this too, everybody. And I know Twitter is a cesspool of anger and frustration, and it's really a terrible place to be. But every single
just
match
life.
day, well, that's true. Every match day when the starting 11 comes out, everybody says this is a disaster. And here we are
I'll say
sitting
every
on.
week.
Well, maybe not, but frequently enough. Here we are sitting on 42 points in February. All right, more points than we had all last season. At this point, I know we have a tough run of matches coming up, but right now we're legitimate contenders for Europe. This is the best season we've had in a long time. When are we going to trust David Moyes? I'm ready to trust David Moyes at this point. Do you guys sense that there's still like hesitation about him?
And I do to a degree of when we play the bigger clubs, namely the most recent match against Liverpool. There is no reason at
I agree
all
with you.
that we should not have
it worries
gone
me
for
about
it.
Sunday, and it worries me about Sunday. Yes.
I'm not as worried about Sunday because Spurs play tomorrow, so I don't know what kind of lineup they're going to put down on Sunday because they play tomorrow, they play Sunday, then they play again next Wednesday. So I don't know.
But how often do we see it, Sally? And we've talked about this a lot. We say to ourselves, "Oh, they have a crowded schedule," and yet it gets them on a roll. Do you know what I mean? It gets the opponent on a roll. You see it in hockey. You see it in basketball. One series ends in 7 games. The other series ends in 4 games. The team that won in 7 goes out and wins the next one again.
No, I agree. You're not wrong. And I think, I guess kind of to the counterpoint of what I was saying a second ago, I have learned to trust the lineups that Moyes has put out because they've worked, even though some of them have been funky. For the most part, they've worked. Like I said earlier,
worked better than anybody expected them to work. Even against Manchester United in the FA Cup, which was a bad starting 11 in a way. In a proper season, that goes to a replay. Do you know what I mean? Like we went into Old Trafford and held them 0-0, functionally, basically.
Yeah,
it's just
you
can't. It's not enough this season, but it wasn't.
The only thing that I get frustrated with is that you don't we don't attack the bigger clubs. We'll still be counter attack minded, which is fine. I guess against those bigger teams, it's worked for us, so that's okay. But
it has
don't be afraid to start 4 attacking players
Yeah.
and then trust the 5, defenders. Like, don't put like the lineup that I think we played against Sheffield. I don't think that works at all against Manchester United.
It doesn't. We can't play. Bowen's not a striker. Neither is Lingard. Neither is Ben Rama. Neither is Antonio technically, but he works because he works his ass off, and the players around him work their ass off.
Yeah, I think we really have to have formations of Lingard and Ben Rama together, because those guys together link up like they've been playing their entire lives together.
I would honestly put Lingard and Bowen behind Antonio. And I would, unfortunately, I think it's the end for Lanzini because I love Lanzini. And I think Fornells works his ass off, but Ben Rama and Lingard together could be something special. I'd maybe give Fornells and
that's
Bowen.
A bunch of pace too, especially with Bowen. That's an attack that can definitely unlock any defense for sure.
Yeah, I think there's definitely options up there for us.
So let's talk about Spurs because it's a good segue. Our record against the traditional top 6 is not good this season. We all know that. I think it's 1 draw against Manchester City. I think we've lost every other match we've played.
No, we draw Tottenham. Don't forget.
Oh, okay. You know what I forgot, Sully? I forgot that they were the traditional top 6. That's what I forgot.
There you go.
But anyway, because as your point is, I'm not sure why. But if we consider them in that category, yes, we had the great. But even then, let's face it, we're down 3-0 in the 82nd minute. It was a great, thrilling game, but I don't want to do that again. It's a tough record. 2 draws, losses to everybody else. Some of them bad losses. What do you see happening very early Sunday morning? Do we roll 5 at the back and sacrifice what Danny was talking about? Because I'm with you, Danny. I'd like to see Lingard. I'd like to see Ben Rama. I'd like to see Antonio and Bowen together. But I mean, then you start to wonder if you have a defensive liability. What do you guys think we're going to do? What would you do?
Yeah, I'd start 5 in the back because it's worked. We've played better against those teams with 5 in the back. I mean, obviously, switching to that formation is what kind of got us on the run that we had a while ago at the beginning of the season. But I think it helps give everybody cover.
Yeah.
I wouldn't – Tottenham, for sure we're going to play Son and we're going to play Kane or play against them, obviously. Yeah. You just have to slow those 2 guys down, I mean, it's
like we did against Grealish. We did that successfully against Grealish.
Yeah, put the clamps on. Yeah. I don't know if you can successfully do it against both of them, but put the clamps on one of them and make the other one work a lot harder than he needs to. It's like the NBA adage. If you're playing like the Lakers, stop everybody else and just let LeBron James do what he wants to do because they're not going to beat you because you're putting clamps on everybody else. Now,
right.
You can't necessarily do that in football. But if you slow down Son or Kane, you have yourself a chance. I mean, because that's essentially what we did the second half. Granted, they probably took their foot off of the gas, but at the same time, you don't get 3 goals back when you're down 3 goals for no reason.
That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, do what you did against Grealish. Now, I would like to see more attacking players in there if we did that. But, I mean, if we do 5 in the back, you are sacrificing somebody.
You can only you got 5 at the back. You got Rice and Souček. You can only put 3 up front. That's all you can do.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we were to do some kind of like functional 4-3-3, that'd be nice. But even then, you might as well just do a 5 in the back because you're going to have the same players in regardless of what formation you use.
Do you want to see Antonio on Sunday? Or
I'd play him. If he's fit, put him in. We're going to need his ability to get behind, and we don't have a proper striker, and I don't know if I trust Bowen up there. I'm definitely not. I don't trust Yarmolenko at all.
Trash.
And what's that?
Yarmolenko is absolute muff cabbage. He's worse.
Yeah. So
he's done for the season anyway. So I mean, he's out. So, he's done. Yeah, he's done.
Yeah. I mean, if we were able to do some kind of front 4, with the players that Danny was talking about, I think that'd be perfect.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, but you can't do 5 at the back with a front 4. Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
unless you I don't think you want to break the axis of Souček and Rice. I think that's the core of our team. I personally, maybe you do,
Yeah.
maybe you stick Declan back there and you just say like you're covering, but Souček is too important because he goes forward. I don't know, Danny, what do you think? What would you do?
I think we're at home. We go for it. What do we have to fear? I think we kind of learned from what we didn't do against Liverpool, and we changed.
Yeah.
Because what we did against Liverpool was we said, okay, this is the champions of England. We didn't look at Liverpool as a team that's been struggling when they played us. We looked at Liverpool as a team that are bigger than us, and we have something to fear. I think that we've shown.
And we played that way too. It wasn't just the way it wasn't just the tactics. We played that way. We let them come to us. We didn't take the match to them. And I don't like that about Moyes. That bothers me.
They made our stadium their stadium, and they looked like the better team.
Yeah.
Based on outfit. And that lineup was atrocious. I mean, they didn't have a centre back. They didn't have Mane, I don't think. They didn't have Firmino. They had like Shaqiri, Origi, and I saw that lineup, and I
thought we were going to win. I thought we were going to win. Yeah, I did. I thought we were going to win.
But Tottenham, the way they've been playing lately is the way that Mourinho always complains about other teams. They park the bus. They play very defensive. I've got 3 friends from England who I speak to very often. They're all Tottenham fans. I don't know how.
Sorry, Danny. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I don't know how I got stuck with them wankers, but they hate Mourinho. They hate the way that they're playing. They hate Mourinho's tactics. They all want him gone. They say it's very defensive. I just think that as a home team, we have to have a go. If we want to push for Europe, now is the time. I mean, Man City's next. If we lose this game, we lose to Man City, then we're going to be on the team's back again. We could go down to 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever.
Oh, we could. That's the thing
I think we just have to have a go this weekend. And I don't.
Do you play 4 or 5 at the back, Danny? Do you trust Cresswell at the back by himself and at left back?
I do, because Son plays from Kufal's side, and Kufal can handle him.
Yeah.
Dawson will bully Kane.
Do you stick a Fred? Let me ask you this: do you stick a Fredericks at right wing as a player to help with Son and sacrifice like a Bowen, for instance?
I do, but at the same time, yes, Bowen would be the sacrifice, I guess. But I want to see Benrahma start, man. I really do. I feel like this.
I do too.
I feel like there's something about him. There's a spark. Can you imagine him and Payet in the same lineup? I mean, just prime Payet. It would just be.
I know. Poor Payet. That's such a sad story. It's sad for us, and it's sad for him too.
I think Bowen
Not
would
sad
be the
for
one
me.
to drop. If Fredericks comes in,
No.
if Fredericks comes in, then I would play Benrahma, Lingard, and Antonio, and I'd drop Bowen and bring Fredericks in.
But that way he has some responsibility for defending on that side that Son is on. It's like what we did with Grealish. Same thing. Same idea.
And we've done great. When they've played together, which I've only think's been once or twice, they've looked really good together.
Yeah, they have. You're not sad about Payet, Sully?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to sit here and feel bad for somebody who wanted to leave and is now terrible.
Well, I don't feel bad for him.
Okay. That's a fair point.
The only reason his club was doing better than us is because he plays in France and effectively plays against 2 good teams. He wanted to, and granted, it might have been part of our club's fault that he wanted to leave. But at the same time, it's just like Arnautovic. Like, I'm not going to sit here and cry that Arnautovic was gone, went to China, drank too much soda, and is terrible now. Okay, bye.
I don't feel bad about Arnautovic. The thing about Payet is I feel as though we were like star-crossed lovers who were meant to be together. And he got in. If the story is true that he had this romantic dalliance and he had to go back to France to satisfy his wife, if that's true, it just feels like a missed. It's like fate didn't quite make the connection. Like he should have been at West Ham for years and a superstar for years.
Sure.
It's like the Natural. It's like the movie The Natural. Do you know what I mean?
And even for that, like if it was one of those things to where his wife didn't want. Yeah. To where his wife didn't want to leave France, then like that should have been someone that they should have talked about.
Well, but
from the jump.
You know the story.
Well, all the money
he's
making, he could have found a new wife, buddy. He should have been happy.
Well, you know the story. goes, you all know the story, is that he got a young woman pregnant in London, and his wife said, either you come back to France. He had children with his wife. Either you come back to France and reunite with your family, or it's over and you won't see your kids anymore. And he said, all right, I'm going back to France. I'm going to reunite with my wife. I'm going to be with my kids. If that's what he did, I understand why he did that. And I don't think that was a bad thing. You don't like the way he handled himself.
Well,
like
then
the way he handled
I'm
himself.
especially not going to feel sorry for him if he's out here cheating on his wife. Like, I'm not going to feel bad for him.
It's not that I feel sorry for him. I mean, he made a bad decision. He had to pay the consequences. It's more just that he was right for us. We were right for him. It was this beautiful union. And then it's almost as if
Arnautovic was right for us too. Arnautovic would tear the whole Premier League up if he was on this current club with the current players that we have, and he was our lone striker. Yeah. He could easily be up there with Jamie Vardy for Golden Boot, 100%. Especially if he had Lingard and all them behind him. But again, you wanted to leave for money. Your brother wanted to get you more money. All right, bye.
I don't feel sorry for him.
Have fun being irrelevant in China.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't cheat on my wife. I didn't cheat on my first wife either. So.
Good.
All right. So
I just want to tell you this, guys. I didn't cheat on my wife.
I want
to say that out front.
I don't have sympathy for Dimitri Payet if he cheated on his wife. Okay, that's not what I mean. If he did that, that's his fault, and he has to.
Regardless,
he has to suffer the consequences. I just feel as though there was a magical season where everything came together, and it makes me sad that it couldn't last. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the same thing with Declan. You know, we get a generational player.
Yeah, I know.
Sure, we get a generational player who is not going to stay. You know, when he leaves, I'm not going to cry about it. It sucks, but that's football. You know, good luck. don't score any game winners against us. But good luck in international and club.
But Declan, and I am pretty beta in real life, to be honest. But maybe even I don't even know what the next letter in the Greek alphabet is, but it's probably somewhere in the middle.
It might be Charlie, to be fair. If we're talking the army one, to be fair. So.
I'm pretty alpha. Yeah, I'm pretty down somewhere in the middle of the alphabet. Charlie. Yeah, no, Arnautovic he never had the magic for me for some reason. He was a good player, kept us up. But anyway, Charlie, you've been quiet for longer than I ever expected that you could be. And I appreciate that.
I was just listening,
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. Tell me, what do you think about Saturday? Who plays for you, and what's your take on the game? Sunday, I should say, not Saturday. We never play on Saturday anymore. What am I, crazy?
No, Sunday, Saturday, 3 p.m. I've never heard of it.
No, come on, get out of here.
Never heard of it.
3 p.m. must be nice.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Are you ready to get up at 5 on Sunday, Sally?
Oh, I'll be awake. I'll be watching.
See, I'll be up for this one because I teach Sunday school on Zoom at 10 o'clock in the morning. So my mood for the poor high school kids is going to be very dependent on what happened an hour before. Anyway, go ahead, Charlie. Sorry.
Going to be singing the praises and blesses of Jesse Lingard, potentially, or the curses of David Moyes.
Yes, exactly.
Because I was just listening because I'm not sure. I think if Antonio's fit, it makes the question a hell of a lot easier, doesn't it? Really, you say you put Antonio up front, and then I think you play either one or two systems. You either stick with the 5 at the back, you go with the one we were playing when we had that run of form at the beginning of the season with all the top teams. So you're playing a kind of 3-4-3 or 5-2-3, however you want to look at it. And then the team virtually picks itself. I would make a case for Fredericks over Soufal, and I'm not just saying that because Wally's in the chat, although Wally knows that I would do anything to please him.
Well, you take him over Soufal? You take him over Soufal?
I think if you're playing 5 at the back,
not together, but you're starting Soufal as
if you're playing 5 at the back, specifically 5 at the back, I think I could make an argument for it. Although I don't know. So
who are your 5 at the back if you're playing 5 at the back?
Fabianski in goal. Let's do the easy one first while I think a bit longer. And what I'm going to do now, Lee, is I'm going to do something I've learned from watching lots of politics, which is I'm just going to keep talking while I think, which makes it seem like I've got the answers, but actually I'm still thinking.
This is what I do every Wednesday night, Charlie. So you don't have to teach me. I get it already.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very
true. I
already
know how to do this. Yes.
I think
okay. So you're talking about Diop and Dawson because I'm not sure Balbuena is healthy, right? So you'd have Diop and Dawson in the middle. You have Cresswell as the third center back. Okay.
Got to be Johnson or Fredericks with Kufel.
Right.
Well, it depends who's fit. Yeah, it depends who's fit. For example.
For fuck's sake.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, if you're
Because
three
I
center
think there's an
backs-
argument. I think there's an argument to play Cresswell at left back as well. For example, again, depending on who's fit. But if I was to pick one now, on my knowledge that has not been looking on Twitter recently, it would be from left to right. Johnson, Cresswell, Dawson, Diop,
Fredericks.
probably Kufal. But again, I think Fredericks, there's an argument to play him at wing back specifically. I think there's because he's so good going forward.
So
man.
you're thinking about possibly putting him in place of Kufal.
Yeah, but the difference is this is why I was just listening, because I was trying to think all these things through. In my head, when you were talking about Kane and Son and trying to stop them and stuff.
Come on, Vernon. Who are you? What are you doing? Anyway.
If what do you call it? If Son is there, I trust Kufal immensely.
Okay.
If Son is 10 meters that way, I'm way more confident in Fredericks to catch him, because I think Son is a different situation where if he's almost any player really next to Kufal, I 100% trust Kufal. I think he's got it, and then he can make recovery tackles, but Fredericks just has this pace to shut him down. But having said that, I would probably still start Kufal as I talk about it again and work my way through out loud in that situation. And then the rest of the team almost picks itself around that. It would probably be, if you're playing Kufal, there's maybe even an argument to still play Fredericks in a 5, but I probably wouldn't do it. But
Rice becomes the biggest player, because if you look at how Kane's been playing this year, he's been dropping off.
He drops deep. Yeah.
And Rice filling that. Dawson hasn't got the pace. Diop's one of those players that he's not necessarily rash, but he needs to get the ball or he's out of position kind of thing. And if Kane drops back, Rice needs to be. Rice is going to be box to box this weekend. I don't think we're going to sit back. But it's very important that Rice is on Kane's ass, because if Son does get behind Kufal, then we are in a little bit of trouble. But Kufal, in my opinion, is a good enough right back that he can, look after Son. There's no one this year that has come in against Kufal that I can think of that's given Kufal a fucking hard time.
Well, and I like the fact that Kufal too, he's up for a challenge. Like, he was about to take somebody's head off against what was that, Villa? Like, he was like, the dude looks like he just Kufal looks fresh out. Like,
no, he's a mad.
I'm not messing with him. Yeah,
I thought he struggled. I thought he struggled with Rashford. Yeah, Phil brought it up. He struggled with Rashford. Was the only one I can think of. He really had he had trouble with Rashford.
But that's when we were behind, because first half we were dominating. Then we went behind. He had to move a little bit more forward. Rashford had more space.
I think you could play it by half and see how it's going. Hopefully Kufal isn't necessarily, not saying that he will, because he hasn't been, but hopefully he's not like a liability in the sense that he's just getting run behind every time. But in the first half, if that's the case, then you make the halftime substitution for pace.
Well, and that's the thing, is you could also play the 4-2-3-1, and you have the chance to put Ryan Fredericks out of right wing if you want to try and nullify Son the same way we nullified Jack Grealish. Now, obviously, they've still got Harry Kane.
We talked about that too. You put it. You don't start Bowen. You start Fredericks on the wing instead. Yeah, and he kind of has that wing back type role. Yeah,
I think
he can track back better than Bowen can.
I think. I don't want to say I'm losing faith with Bowen a little bit, but
he wouldn't be alone.
He's got his mental issues right now. Have you not seen that? Yeah. So players go through these phases.
Of course they do. Yeah. I don't know. I think the reason I think he's up front is I think that's the place where he is. I think that's the place where he's most useful up front. But right now, without Mikel Antonio, I think that's the place he's most useful. I think everyone else can do a better job than him at right wing right now.
Yeah. Well,
this is also assuming the fact that Spurs play their full squad.
I think they will.
Sure.
I do. I think they will. I listen, Selly, you make a good point, because they're going to be in Europe, and I understand that. I think that they think about us more than they say they do. I think that they have. I know Arsenal is their big derby.
Especially after the first time, yeah.
Right, that's what I mean. I know Arsenal's the big derby. I get that. We're nothing compared to Arsenal to them, and that's understandable. I get that completely. I think that were a little bit their Texas A&M. Like Texas and Oklahoma was the big rivalry, but then there was A&M at the end of the season, and that was big too. And I feel as though we're like a little like a number 2 sort of to them after Arsenal. I think they're more concerned with us than they let on. I think when they lose to us or when they have a draw like what they had earlier, it makes them look really bad. It makes their fans angry, and they can't stand it because they think they should always beat us. Do you know what I mean? They think they should always, and if they don't, it's a huge problem for them. I think
they can't stand that we're a bigger club.
We are a bigger club.
The best team in London, buddy.
Second best, technically.
I will tell you this. I will tell you this. I believe, and I'm not joking. I really believe that West Ham, if you talk about fan support, okay, fan support is the biggest club in London. All right. Why do I say that? Because if you support West Ham, you are not a glory hunter unless you're a total moron and really bad at it. All right. If you support West Ham, it is from the heart, and you will support West Ham for your entire life. You can find me people who support Arsenal, who supported Arsenal 20 years ago, Manchester United after that, Chelsea after that. And I know these people. I've talked to them. They're out there. But if you support West Ham, and you go anywhere you go, you see West Ham stuff. I was here in, we have, Tim and I here in Lowell met because I used to do a West Ham blog. We didn't know each other at all. Nick, who was on our show a few weeks ago, we go to the same mechanic. He's got a sticker on the back of his car.
That was such a cool story, by the way. When I tuned into that show and I was like, who's this random guy that I've never seen before? And you were like, I had a sticker on my car. And
he had a sticker on it. In fact,
that was it. He had the sticker and you left
the
note.
sticker. Yeah, my car is it's 15 years old, and it just chugs along. And if I put a sticker on it, it would probably like throw off the weight balance or something.
Sounds a lot like Mealy. I can't lie.
Yeah, no, it's a beater. It's a beater. It is. It's a beater. There's like big chunks of it that were just in the back of the big plastic bits have fallen out of the back. So I just took a bunch of them out, put them in my garage the other day. So I was like, I guess I don't need these anymore. No, but this is what I'm saying. Anywhere you go, you find West Ham fans, and a West Ham fan is a West Ham fan forever because we don't win anything. So it's a real fan. I believe we're the biggest club in London in terms of fan support, and I'm talking about globally. And I'm talking about yes, I'm talking about bigger than Arsenal. Look at them selling out 99.5% of our seats at that stadium everybody hates, for a club that battles relegation every season. I know not this season, but we don't have any fans. But you know what I'm saying.
I genuinely think, and this is not at all trying to hear me.
Yeah, you
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you flaked out for a second. No, it's not a Subaru. It's not a Subaru. It's not a. Good Lord, what do you think of me, John? I'll show you my car. I'll bring up a picture of my car. Anyway,
it's a big hot rod with the engine poking out the bonnet. It's wild.
Yeah,
I think
it's so boring.
I think as far as global fan support, it might be Chelsea. And the only reason I say that is because I've met a bunch of Chelsea fans through my time in college, through my time in the military. And honestly, a lot of them too are African because, Chelsea has some of the best African players ever played for them. But at the same time, I mean, they're probably the most successful London club, and I think you get a lot of that. I think you get a lot of fans that way too because they have that success. But other than that, I don't think if it's not us, then it's Chelsea. But we're definitely behind Chelsea.
And some of those Chelsea fans, Sally, that when their favorite player leaves, they don't care about Chelsea anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and I've met Chelsea fans in name only as well. I think you get that a lot too. But
listen, I mean, there were a lot of American, and you are right about the African players. That's a very good point. And I think I think they're the one club that could be comparable to us over the last 20 years anyway. But, there were tons of American fans of Fulham in the late 90s, early 2000s when Dempsey played there and Carlos Bocanegra and Brian McBride. There were all these Fulham people everywhere, and nobody watches Fulham in this country anymore. I mean, they didn't hang on to that, they didn't stick with that. So, but cool. But that's a good point. Yeah.
So cool story. When I got the phone call last week from Amazon, they wanted to do a Zoom call with me. And,
yes. This is my car, by the way. That is pretty much exactly my car. It's a 2006 Scion TC. I've had it for 15 years. I will probably drive it for the rest of my life. It's nothing special,
Love
but
that.
it works for me.
It
Yeah.
looks like the sort of car you start a Need for Speed game with. I love that. I love that a lot.
100%.
I bought this car when I had just gotten divorced and I'd moved back from Europe, and I was single, and I was going to buy a very practical car. And my Bulgarian friend said, no. He said, you have to buy a sporty car because the ladies would like it. Or you have to buy it. So I bought a car I thought the ladies would like. My wife hates this car. All right, I've been married 13 years. She's never liked my car, but I'm going to drive it forever because I like my car. Anyway, Danny, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was circling back. Anyway, what were you saying about Amazon? Go ahead.
Yeah, so the guy texted me and said, set up a Zoom call, whatever. And I got on the Zoom call. He didn't know I was from England. So the first time he heard me, my accent, he said, where am I from? And I said, London. And he said that he went over to England and he went to a soccer game. And I said, well, who did you go see? And he said it was this team, their first game at their new stadium. I think it was West something. And I said, oh, West Ham. He said, that's it. Yeah, they have like this big X or whatever. So I showed him my tattoo and I said, I pretty much grew up there and, a big fan and everything. As soon as I said I was a big fan of West Ham, he said, okay, well, you're hired. And he was just like, I love it. He said, he's never met.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I swear to God, all my kids. He said, I've never seen so many passionate people in a crowd in my life.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I showed him my tattoo, and he was like, that is awesome.
He went to West Ham versus Juventus?
No, the first league game. I think we won 1-0, I think. It
was like Watford or something.
Was Bournemouth or Huddersfield, maybe? I think it was Bournemouth.
I think it was. I think it was Bournemouth. I think you're right. Yeah.
I think it was.
Like
I don't really remember.
Late goal. It was like 80 something.
So that was what 2016.
But he was like he's watched the Green Street Hooligans movie, and he knows about the
of course
ICF.
He has.
He knows about the ICF. And
you should show him Iron Man.
I haven't even seen Iron Man.
Green Street Hooligans.
Oh, it's free on Tubi, I think, something like that. TUBI. That's where I watched it. It was like free on there.
I honestly do not, and it sounds bad. I just can't sit still and watch movies. It doesn't matter what it's about.
I don't watch for a minute.
But like sometimes when Lee goes on for 4 or 5 hours every week, I just sit here like, fuck,
You can't turn this off, all right? When we get started, you can't turn it off. Yeah.
I love speaking to you guys.
Did I call it my? I mean, I would have. Declan Rice was like 6 years old when I bought my car, Vern. So if I had known, I would have called it that. But yeah. Yeah,
I mean, we're in every single film. Now, this is maybe a reference that very few people are going to get, and I think it might be lost on all of you, but I don't really care. Tracy Beaker, right? Tracy Beaker is a children's thing from the UK, a children's book series that was made into a TV show that I watched when I was growing up. I was super into it when I was growing up. Now,
little girl, yeah,
Tracy Beaker,
she was a bog off. She wasn't crying. She just had a hay fever and stuff, bro. It was a banger. But they just brought it back, right? They just brought it back this week on CBC, the children's BBC channel. They had a film come out which was based on one of the newer books that just came out, where she's now a mum. So the story, Lee, to break it down for you, right, Lee, I'm going to take you on a journey here.
No,
Tracy Beaker is a kid in a children's home. Okay, and it's all about her life in the truth. Yes, Fo was the person I knew was going to go with me on this.
I don't know why John is saying this, but it's funny.
Fo was the one I knew would come with me on this one, right? So
he's a good dude. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
She lived in a children's home, right? And the story is about her life in the children's home and all the different kids in the children's home, right? Now, the new one that came out this week is now she's a mum,
right?
Of a kid and whatever. But she runs in to one of her old friends from the children's home who grew up to become a world famous footballer. Guess who that footballer played for? West Ham United.
Oh, no way, really?
100%. She goes to his big fancy Premier League house and it has all the West Ham shirts on the wall and stuff. Now, there's a little bit of an inaccuracy in there, I noticed, when they went, oh, that picture's from when you won the Premier League or the FA Cup or whatever it was. And I was like, bollocks, that has not happened in a long time.
I was going to say that's an old black and white picture.
That is a children's TV show mistake if ever I've seen one. But we're in every film, man. We're in everything.
Have you guys ever watched the movie Final Score? with Dave
I
Bautista.
haven't seen it yet. I heard
Yeah.
it's supposed to be not that bad.
I think it was.
It's a good popcorn movie.
Yeah, I
But
heard it's not
it-
too bad. They
It
blow
takes
up the
place at
Bowl
the Bowl Inn.
Yeah, they blow it up. Literally blow it up.
Yeah.
So first league match at Stratford, 1-0 over Bournemouth. Goal
Kiyate?
by, huh?
Was it Kiyate?
It was
it
the
back, but it wasn't. Faguli set
it was Antonio.
Yes, it was.
Antonio.
It was
Kiyate must have been the other game then, because I remember him scoring so early. I have
He
vivid
scored in
memories
the
of him
cup
running.
game. He scored in the cup game.
That must be what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. That
I
was
remember their name.
yeah.
And we were winning 1-0 and thought we were going to go on and be Europe's biggest next big thing.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
Astra.
yeah.
That was the Astra Gugu. I think we had to play the Maltese first or something.
Yeah, it was some crap. It wasn't that great team, Astra Grugu. It was some other team.
Oh,
That makes more sense because I was at
We
the
won.
European fixtures, but I wasn't at the Premier League one. So that makes sense why I would have
okay.
remembered seeing it then.
yeah.
Because I vividly remember Checo Kiyate
I
scoring
still
and
remember
running
that
off.
goal. It was a scrap in the box, and he fell on the floor. It was a little tapping kind of goal. He came out. I still
Oh,
remember.
he scored. Okay, so he scored 2 against Domzale.
Yes,
Domzale.
That's the
Yeah.
team.
they wore yellow. Yep.
He scored 2 against Domzale, and we won 3-0. And that was that was August of that season. So yeah, that was prior to the league starting. Yeah.
Was
That's right.
Domzale the same one when we played them away that Mark Noble called their captain fat on the pitch? Do you remember
I don't know.
that? Him and the captain was like
Maybe.
was like a 40-year-old guy, or really, or
Yeah.
like a guy who was like at the end of retirement, but he used to be like one of the best players in the country or whatever. And he was like a big guy. He was like, and now he looked like me on a football pitch. And Mark Noble and him were arguing, walking backwards, and the camera zooms in on him, and you just saw Mark Noble go and point at him like that. I think it was Domzale. I want to say it was Domzale.
Quite a bit. Yeah, they were Slovakian. No, I'm sorry, Slovenian. Well, okay, they were a Slovenian powerhouse, and we powered through them. And yes, Danny's right. We were gonna definitely win Europa League, and then, or I guess it was still UEFA Cup at the time. No, it was Europa League. We were definitely gonna win Europa League, and then we were gonna storm into the Champions League, and that's when we ran into the greatest force in the history of European football, Astra Gugu. Astra Gugu, and we Kaja Gugu, and we can't beat them no matter what we do. So thank God if we do get into Europe, thank God they're 13th, and hopefully not in contention because they're clearly our kryptonite at this point. Yeah. Astra
yeah,
Gugu.
To bring it back to the point, I would probably play the 4-2-3-1.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, I would play. Here's the thing: I would play the 5 at the back because I think the 5 at the back makes us more secure
I
and
do
gives
too.
us more of an energy. But I don't like Bowen up front.
don't either.
However, so if Antonio's fit, I would probably stick. I would go to the 5 at the back because I have way more faith in him. But if it's a case of Bowen's the only option because Antonio isn't fit enough to start yet, I would actually go for the 4-2-3-1. And I would go for them, and it would be Bowen up front, and then the 3 behind him would be Ben Rama, Jesse Lingard, and probably Ryan Fredericks.
Would you? Yeah, that makes sense. That I can see that because Fredericks functionally gives you. He's going to be able to track back better than your average winger,
Yeah.
and that's going to be on the side we're going to want to look after Son. So Son, however you say.
And I think Bowen is the most like a striker out of all of the people we have that isn't Antonio. I mean,
He is.
realistically,
he is.
if I start
yeah,
if I start describing this, a right winger who cuts inside a lot and goes for a shot which usually ends up over way too often, I could be describing either Bowen or Antonio at this
Yes, you
point.
could.
You haven't
Yes, you
haven't really broken it down yet.
no,
So
you haven't.
I think out of all of them, I think he's the most striker-like person we have who isn't Antonio. So if Antonio's not fit, then I think he sort of has to play there by default, because if we're looking to play balls over the top and play counter-attacking football, he's really the one that I would trust to do that role. I think Jesse Lingard could do it. I think Ben Rama could do it. But I really liked Jesse Lingard play when Jesse Lingard had to drop back deep
Yeah.
in the last match. who was it? Sheffield United.
Sheffield United,
He
yeah.
was so good taking the ball forward and past people. It was almost too easy for him. There was that one where he had it on the edge of the area, nutmegged the guy with his first touch, and then went the entire length of the field. It was so easy.
Magnificent.
And I don't want to lose that at the back. If he's the one who's having to drop deep, which Bowen wouldn't do if he's playing up front, or Jesse Lingard wouldn't do if he was playing up front, I wouldn't want to lose that ability to just get out of tight situations against the top team that we've got like Spurs. I would love to see him do that. And so for me, as much as I think he could potentially fill that role, I think Bowen is the one who does that, is the option there, which is kind of frustrating because, again, but we've got literally no one else if Antonio's not there. So that's kind of process of elimination.
Yeah.
Would you miss Bowen's work rate in the middle? Because I feel as though Lingard shoots just as much as Bowen. Benrahma shoots just as much as Lingard and Bowen. But I think it makes sense what you're saying. Bowen would be the one to start up front. I just think that we might miss Bowen's graft.
Sorry.
Okay. It is bigger than his heart.
I was going to say, you saw his tweet. You had to have seen his tweet. Yeah. Anyway.
I think, would you miss it potentially? But I think Jesse Lingard, I think you're right. I think he shoots as much as Bowen. I think he's a better shot than Bowen.
That's the thing. He's a better shot.
Do you miss Bowen's work rate when he's not playing? Is it that noticeable that he's not in when he doesn't play?
I think out wide it is.
Yeah,
I think he actually works hard out wide. I think the reason why he plays so much under Moyes is because of that. I think even when he was starting at the beginning of the season, I think where he was struggling a little bit for form, Bowen, I think he kept his place because Moyes recognized his work rate wide, his defensive work rate specifically out wide. And I think that's a great asset to have. I just look at it and think it's purely a case of like the option that makes sense right now with the people we have, which is kind of when you've got a small squad, you don't really have the vibes to be able to pick and choose. You just sort of have to go with the options that make the most sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I guess so. And just because playing devil's advocate is fun, if you were to swap him for Fornals, where's the difference?
Fornals finishable. Fornals weak. But no, Fornals, I can see Fornals starting this weekend, unfortunately. I don't think he'll start Benrahma because I think he'll be cautious and he'll see that Fornals will get back. It's like the Man U game. We're 0-0 with Man U.
Yeah. That worries me too because I'd rather see Benrahma, Danny, especially with Lingard. I don't have anything against Fornals. A lot of people are down on Fornals. I'm not really down on him. I just don't think he's right for this match. Right now, I like Benrahma and Lingard together. They look natural together. They look comfortable together. And I know that leaves us at a liability defensively, but it's not so much on that side. You know what I mean? If you put Fredericks on the other side with Soufal, you take care of that to some extent. So,
I reckon. This is the thing is, I think he could work together.
Yeah,
I think he could work together, but I agree with Danny. I think I was thinking that exact same thing that Danny's just said, and I completely agree with you. I think he probably will end up going conservative and will end up picking Fornals for the defensive work rate. My one problem with it, and I don't necessarily. The worst thing is when I think about it in my head, I'm like, do you know what? That kind of makes sense as well. Maybe I would play Fornals ahead of Benrahma and then bring Benrahma on later on in the game. But then my question becomes, if we don't start Lingard and Benrahma together in this game, when will we? Because we can sit here
I feel the same way. Yeah,
team comes up, but that's not going to happen for a while. And then again, in the Premier League, every game is difficult. There are very few easy games. I think at some point he has to take the plunge. But I reckon you're right, Danny. I think it won't be this weekend, unfortunately.
I would love to see it this weekend, though. Honestly, I think everyone would.
I would too. I'm with you on that. But listen, my fear is that we're going to see on Sunday what we've seen all season when we go up against the traditional top six or the bigger clubs, whatever you want to say. It's going to be a defensive setup. It's going to be a cautious setup, as you said, Danny. And I that's my biggest fault with Moyes right now. Right? Is that I love the fact that we're racking up points against somebody else. I love everything he's done. I support him. At this point, I would say give him a contract. I'm all for him, but my biggest criticism of him is we back off the big clubs. We give them too much room. We give them too much respect. We're too cautious. And I'm afraid we're going to see that again this weekend. That's my fear.
But
And if we do that in the next few weeks, it's going to hurt us because we've got, I don't know, we've got
Tottenham, Manchester City,
right,
and then
We got Leeds after.
I think Leeds after that,
and then
yeah.
Manchester United after that. So we don't have an easy game until we play West Brom again. Oh yeah, Arsenal, sure.
I see. This is the thing, and this is going to be
Arsenal,
this is going to be slightly different for me to try and defend David Moyes here, and I'm not doing this out of fear of Jazz appearing and saying some rude words at me again. But I will say this: as much as I agree to an extent with people saying about David Moyes being their biggest problem with David Moyes being not going for it in the bigger games and being too cautious in those games and stuff. And I do agree, obviously, but that's my problem with David Moyes in every single game. But I do agree with it. I think for me, when I look at those big games, those were the ones over the course of the season, at least, they're the ones that I'm most content with David Moyes. Because I think they're the ones his system is actually set up for. I think his system of sort of counter-attacking, defensive-first football actually makes the most sense against the big teams. And that's the ones where I'm sort of like, do you know what? Okay, fair. And I think when we had that run in the first time, it was we did well. Like, don't get me wrong, we didn't get the results that maybe we should have, and we didn't win any of those matches, but we certainly put in some good performances, and we were unlucky in a couple of those games not to get more. I mean, in fact, I said this last week when Jazz was mid-swearing, but it was flipping. I can't believe we didn't beat Arsenal in that run, for example.
We should have.
We should have.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
So
Yeah.
as much as I'm not super keen on Moyes in those games either, I actually back him in those games, and I think, do you know what? I know what he's going to do, but I think it's probably the right thing to do. It wasn't in the cup, in my opinion. That's where it falls down, because a cup is a one-off game. It's not a league game. You can't play for a point in a cup.
He treated it like a league game. He did.
Exactly.
And that, but again, Charlie, I think in a normal season, if that goes to replay, then that's a successful strategy. But we're not doing that this season. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
But
and I think
he got it wrong. He got it wrong. I agree with you on that.
And I think during that game in the watch along, Gio, who came on at halftime to talk to me, to give me company during the watch along, he was saying the same thing. He was like, well, I'm happy with the strategy so far. Now we have to go for the win, sort of thing. And that just never materialized. And I was never confident Moyes was ever going to go for it, because you're right. I think he treated it like a league game. But in league matches, I think that's an okay thing to do, especially for us for now. Because this was the thing I was trying to say last week before, again, someone spoke over me. It was a case of Jazz. It was a case of I think at the end of this, when we will talk about where we're going to finish and all this stuff, because we keep having these conversations all season because we're getting giddy and, oh my God, we could actually have a really good season here. Yeah. This next run of fixtures is after that. That's where I think we're going to be able to really tell where we can finish or not. Because before this, we're facing all of these teams that are in and around us who are all really difficult. We come out of this unscathed. All of a sudden, we are looking rosy for genuinely actually pushing for Europe. We come out of this taking some bad losses in a row. All of a sudden, not only are we dropping points, but we're dropping points to the teams around us who are then going to go above us and then solidify their positions above us, all this stuff. All of a sudden, we're looking like 10th, 9th, 8th.
A month from now, we could easily be 10th. Easily.
Yeah. You think after the game, there's 5 games till Arsenal.
But those 5 games are not easy.
I didn't say that. I said we have 9 games after Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to say. So these next 5 games are important. I can see us getting points. I can't see us winning 5 games.
But even after Arsenal, and this was what I was trying to like. This run is mad because we have the Tottenham, City, Leeds, Man United, Arsenal, right? But even then, Wolves, Leicester. Like, then Newcastle's the easy one, but then even then you've got Chelsea. It's like
we got a lot of games.
It's a big old chunk of like difficult games, and if we can come out of those looking rosy, that's when I start to think about the big boy positions in the league. But until after that point,
I'm glad we've stockpiled points. I'm glad we're on 42 points right now.
Yeah, we're golden.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because listen. all the expectations we have for this season have changed, obviously, since the season started. Go back to September, whenever the season started, and tell me that we're comfortably staying up, and I would have taken that. I would have taken that. I mean, forget about Europe or anything else. Comfortably staying up, I would have taken that. So if we finish 10th, if we finish 12th, compared to what I thought was going to happen at the start of the season, I'm really not upset about that. The only problem is we've gotten into this nosebleed section of the table, where we're dizzy now from the heights, and the question is, Charlie, you're right. Are we for real? Can we maintain it? If we can't, it's okay because we're not going to go down realistically. All right. I mean, mathematically I know it still can happen, but it's not going to happen.
So we have 42 points right now, obviously, and if we win every one of the rest of our games, we will finish with another 42 points to sit on 84. So the question is, where do we need to finish points-wise to finish in a European spot?
I would say 68 to 75. No, 65 to 75. Anywhere in that. I mean, it's so close this year.
Yeah, it's tight.
I can tell you that Man City are going to win the league.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that Sheffield United and West Brom are going to get relegated.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you who finishes in the top 4. I can't tell you who finishes in Europe.
And Fulham are only 6 points by Newcastle, by the way. Fulham are not down.
Newcastle are going to go down.
Fulham could catch Newcastle, and it wouldn't shock me. I know Fulham only won 3 matches, but they're racking up a lot of draws. They're getting decent results. Scott Parker's a good manager. And I think
Newcastle always first for relegation and never go down. Like, those dudes are staying around forever.
I mean, it's not impossible. Fulham actually have a better goal differential than Newcastle, and because I'm looking at it right now, they're 6 points. They're 6 points behind, which is a lot, but not. We got 14 games left to play, and it's not a done deal. West Brom and Sheffield United, it's a done deal. They're going down. They're not coming back. They're Sheffield United they're a disaster. Although I think they're going to pick up some points in the next few matches because again they're in that zone where they can play and be free and not worry about it because it's pretty much a done deal. So all right, Danny's got to go in a few minutes. We should all probably go in a few minutes. So no 4-hour show tonight. Sorry. Everybody.
You can say that as much as you want when the outro starts, but I don't believe it till the outro finishes, Lee.
I know, but this is the intro to the intro to the outro. Okay, so before Danny goes, because Danny's got to get up early because he works. Unlike me, I just stay home all day. Okay, give me your score prediction. We've talked about how it lines up, etc. I know it's stupid to do this so far in advance, but give me your prediction for Saturday. What's the score going to be? Danny, you can start if you want to.
I think there's going to be goals. I can see a 2-2 or 3-2 West Ham win. I don't think we lose the game.
Good. I love it. Okay. Excellent. Sully, what do you think?
Yeah, 100% with what Danny said. Either 2-2 or 3-2. Benrahma for a hat trick.
Let's do that. Let's get that guy. Let's get him off the schneid. I mean, he needs a goal.
He's doing so good, though. You think he's not getting many minutes, but he comes on and makes an impact every time.
Oh, he's superb. I think he's great. Don't get me wrong. I think if he breaks the seal, it's going to flow. You know what I mean? I think once he gets that first goal, it's going to start happening. Charlie, what do you think? Sorry.
For me, it depends what kind of lineup Spurs put out. I don't know what they're going to do yet. They've obviously got
we don't know anything. That's what.
Yeah, because they've got a Europa League game coming up, and then between now and us, they've got a Europa League game, and then they're playing Europa League the next second fixture straight after. Right. So it wouldn't surprise me if they ended up resting people for it. But if they rest people for it, I would see a 3. I'll back us 3-2, but realistically, I think they'll play their first team against us, at least to start with. And I think
they will.
I think they have to, and I think they'll do it. But I think we might see subs early in the game. But I don't want to say that. That's negative. Hang on, let me recalibrate.
Say it.
Go on.
The nice thing about it is if we lose, we can't fall farther than 6th this weekend. So it's a positive.
We're not losing, Sally.
I know.
No, but Sally, I know what you're saying because we've insulated ourselves. This time of the season, we're usually looking at the table and saying, how far are we from the bottom? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And who's around us? We're sitting on 42 points. What are we? 20
games this weekend too. Like Everton are playing Liverpool, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone's
I mean,
playing Man City,
we're looking at
Arsenal playing Man City.
we're looking at the top of the table instead of the bottom, and already that makes me happy. All right, I don't have to count up from the bottom to see how far we are from the relegation zone. I'm counting from the top down. Already, I'm happy. That makes me happy for really the whole season. I don't know.
Tottenham are going to play their team because they're 8th or 9th in the league.
They're going to play their team because they care more about the Premier League than they do about the Europa League. I guarantee you, and they have to climb. They are, let's see, 10 points out of 6 points. 6 points out of a Champions League place because Chelsea are on 42, they're on 36, and they have a game in hand. They can still make it.
I think they care more about the Europa League than they do Premier League. I think if you said to Jose Mourinho now, would you rather get top 6 or would you rather win the Europa League? He'd say Europa League.
But they're 6 points away from a Champions League spot.
Yeah,
but if you win the Europa League, you get Champions League and a trophy.
They're not going to win the Champions League. They need a trophy.
Well,
I think they would be fine with. I think they would prefer a Europa League trophy. Whether they're good enough to do that or not is a different question. But I
don't care if they win it or not. It doesn't really matter.
I think Liverpool is settled for a Europa League trophy at this point.
Well, Liverpool it's funny to watch them freak out, after they won the league last season. I don't feel sorry for them. Well, who do they play? Tottenham. They play Wolfsburg. I don't know much about Wolfsburg, to be honest.
Wolfsburg are in Austria.
They're Germany.
No,
are they German or Austrian?
Wolfsburg or Germany. Wolfsburger AC or Austria.
He's quite right about that. It's not Wolfsburg, it's Wolfsburger. You're absolutely right, Danny. You're totally right.
They do have a it's a winnable fixture.
It's Wolfsburger.
I can see Bell playing. I can see Bell playing tomorrow.
It's Wolfsburger.
Are they playing in London or are they playing in Austria?
Austria
on Thursday. Then they play us in London on Sunday. Then they play home to Wolfsburger on Wednesday. But you're right. It's not Wolfsburg. It's Wolfsburger. That's an Austrian team.
Yeah.
They could put out a reserve team and beat them. In all honesty, they really could.
They're actually pretty decent. I've watched
games.
They're decent, but they're not.
They're not horrible.
They're not unreal.
They're sitting 6th in the Austrian Bundesliga right now.
Put it this way,
it's one of those stories a bit like when Hoffenheim went flying up in Bundesliga and then managed to sort of break into the Champions League, and then we bought them Bar. It's kind of like it's one of those clubs where it's like you wouldn't have expected them to get into this position, but they've sort of done it through hard work and fighting, and they've sort of their league campaign is suffered to an extent. But
all I'm saying is Wolfsburger it's Wolfsburger FC, a 9,000 seat stadium.
Oh yeah, that's
in Wolfsburg, Austria. It's a small club.
It doesn't mean anything.
Well, no, but I mean,
years ago.
I know it doesn't, but I mean, all I'm saying is that
playing West Ham next year, and
there's no way that club has. There's no way. Tottenham should be able to put out a second 11 that would beat the first 11.
And they will.
But that's also like, I mean, at this point in the Europa League, you're not playing teams that didn't get there by accident. It's like a cup game. No, you're right. They had to get through to this point. You're absolutely right. That's true. If Tottenham want to risk, if Tottenham get a goal, let's say they win 1-0, right? That's good for them because they're coming home, and the away goal thing is great. But at the same time, if you take that team lightly, what does that team have to lose? Nothing. Mm-hmm. Absolutely nothing.
That's true. They don't have anything. Yeah, it's huge for them.
There's no reason for them to not go for it. So. I think if you could even look at it like if you're playing, if we were somehow supporting a club that played Wolfsburger this weekend, I wouldn't worry about that game at all because they're not playing their starters against us.
Yeah.
I think if they, I'll say this is what I was going to say, right? I think if they start their first team against us, which I think they will, my gut said 3-1 to Tottenham, but I think I'll end with 2-2. But
sure.
We're all in agreement. 2-2.
I feel 2-2 pretty passionately myself.
I hate to say it, but if I had to pick a score, that's what I would say the same thing. I think there'll be goals. I don't think we'll let them get 2-0, 3-0 up on us as we did last time. I think we're better than that defensively. I think we figured ourselves out as a club. We have a better identity now. We have better players now. We have a more consolidated starting 11. If that makes sense. That Tottenham game was in like October, so
they're injured,
and they've got a lot of injuries, right? But I think they're very. But I think Kane and Son are going to give us a lot of problems.
Yeah.
They're gonna score goals. If Antonio's healthy, I think we can match them. If not, I don't know what's going to happen.
We need to start Antonio. If he's fit and good enough to make the bench, he's good enough to start.
I agree. I think he has
60
to.
minutes,
Give
65
Depot a
minutes.
run out. Why not? Give Depot or Meepo, give him a run out. Just cause. Why not?
I don't know if Meepo's ready. He didn't look very ready against Manchester United, I hate to say.
He didn't have a chance against Menu. That fucking David Moyes at halftime brought on 3 defenders. He didn't have a chance.
Yeah. Moyes did not manage that game well. I agree with you with that, Dan.
I don't want to get into that game because I'm gonna go to bed. I gotta go.
All right. Yeah, you know what? Let's all go to bed. Let's all go to bed. What do you say? Charlie?
No, I refuse.
Well, Sully didn't have to. Sully, it's like 9:15?
It's 9:15, but I got homework I gotta do.
Yeah, it's 9:50. I have to I don't know. Tomorrow is gonna be tomorrow's a big day. A little bit kind of a big day. My wife is getting her first COVID shot tomorrow.
Really?
Yes. Now it's a long story. I was telling Sally and Danny this earlier, but she has a friend who is 85 and lives by herself, and so she's taking her 85-year-old friend to get the shot. And because she's accompanying a person older than 75, she can get the shot too.
I got it last Friday.
Yes, but you don't live in Massachusetts, Charlie. Massachusetts is just you wouldn't believe how poorly it's rolling out here. It's a disaster.
Yeah, I'm only getting it because A, I'm overweight, and B, I have a liver disease, so I'm very high on the list.
Oh, I found out. Yeah, this is good news. Okay, I looked and I found out. Okay, I have asthma. All right, that's legit. I found even though I'm almost 50 pounds lighter than I was 2 years ago, by the standards of the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control here in the U.S., I am still technically obese.
Yes.
Which means I have 2 comorbidities, baby. 2 comorbidities. And as of tomorrow, I can start looking for an appointment with my 2 comorbidities. So suck it, health nuts. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying, man. Underlying health conditions. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I'll tell you what, man, won't be long. Ken, where are you, buddy? Won't be long. We'll be hanging out. We'll be doing it. So not gonna be long. By the end of the season, it's gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna happen. So anyway, all right. With that, Sally, as always in Colorado, he looked at me like, "What do you want?" Sally with me every Wednesday night in Colorado. Danny down in North Carolina, about to start working for Amazon and a big West Ham fan, which is fantastic. Congratulations to you. And Charles DeWalsh, Charlie, you live in North London, don't you? Actually,
yeah.
Thank you guys for being on. Everybody in the chat room, you guys are fantastic. Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. Ken's got he's scheduled too, so we're gonna get this done. And yes, they are doing great with the vaccines. Massachusetts doesn't do great with anything, but that's another story altogether. Thank you guys in the chat for being on. Thanks everybody for your time. Katie, tomorrow, if she needs a guest, all right? So let Katie know if you want to go on with her tomorrow and talk about why you love West Ham. She's fantastic. She does a wonderful show, and she's a great person. So let her know she needs a guest for tomorrow. If she comes on tomorrow, I think it's 8:00 at night at Eastern time. So in the meantime, we will talk to you soon. And come on, you Irons.